Marines being deployed to L.A. will arrive today to join National Guard troops. President Trump posted on Truth Social, if he didn't send them, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground right now. Attorney General Pam Bondi just told Fox.
President Trump is going to make America safe again. We're going to protect Americans, and that includes Californians. If Gavin Newsom isn't going to protect them, we are.
But California's Democratic governor, who's challenged the federal deployment in court, says the president is putting democracy at risk, and
he's ordering our American heroes, the United States military, and forcing them to put on a vulgar display to celebrate his birthday, just as other failed dictators have done in the past.
Referencing Saturday's military parade in Washington to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday, the same day the president celebrates his 79th. Now to another Trump post on Truth Social. He wrote, our deal with China is done, subject to the approval of he and China's leader following 2 days of talks in London. The president says the U.S. will have 55% tariffs on Chinese imports. China's tariff on American goods would be 10%, following an appeals court ruling that allows the Trump tariffs to stay in place. We just got an inflation update. The consumer price index rose just 0.1% last month from April. The annual rate of inflation rose slightly to 2.4%. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Confronting the mayor. Sunny, 66 in downtown Indy. Will be in the mid-80s for a high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:02. In a sit-down discussion with Wish TV, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett says whether or not current employees should be hesitant to report harassment within his administration.
Well, I think it's important that we continue to evolve the process for protection for all employees, and that includes confidentiality and anonymity.
The interview comes after Lauren Roberts, a woman who says she experienced sexual harassment from the mayor's former top aide, Thomas Cook, was thrown out of a city-county council meeting. The mayor was also seen eating lunch downtown Tuesday after announcing he would not be attending a press conference about homelessness in the city. More babies in Indiana are making it to their first birthday, says the Indiana Department of Health.
But to keep going in the right direction, Eden Beasy, Assistant Commissioner for Women, Children, and Families, says parents need to know that unsafe sleep is one reason babies don't make it.
So making sure that families who need a safe place for their baby to sleep are provided with pack and plays or other portable cribs to make sure that kids are sleeping alone on their back and in a crib.
She says moms also need to know about other risks like smoking, drinking, and being unhealthy, and the Department of Health is doing its best to make sure people get that info. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The statewide average for gas today, $3.02 per gallon, according to Gas Buddy. In Indianapolis, we're at $2.95. That's a few cents more than this time last week. The cheapest gas in the state is in Fort Wayne at $2.88 a gallon. An all-important Game 3 tonight inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse between the Pacers and the Thunder. The series is tied at one game apiece. Pacer head coach Rick Carlisle was asked Tuesday if guard Tyrese Halliburton was going to play in Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight after he was seen limping after Game 2. He said yes, and followed that up by saying everyone's battling something this time of year.
You know, we've got a couple guys that are, slightly under the weather, but I don't think anything's going to keep these guys from playing in the game.
Carlisle added that the team has to play better from here on out, especially against the Thunder. Tip-off tonight at 8:30. The Fever losers last night, 77-58 on the road against the Atlanta Dream. Their next game will be back in Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Saturday, taking on the New York Liberty. Traffic on the 5s. Good morning, Matt Baer.
What's happening, Jared? Looking at inbound 69 stop-and-go traffic, 106th Street, 282nd, 6-minute delay. Crash 46 at Emerson Avenue. Crash Fall Creek Parkway at 34th, and slow in the construction south side, northbound 65 from 465 to the south. Split 5-minute delay. Traffic sponsored by Payday, packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is one hard-working candy bar, so grab one now to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
What do mulch, rain barrels, and mower hide have in common? They can all help you conserve water and save money this summer. Mulching beds in your yard help retain moisture and prevent weeds. Water collected in rain barrels can be used later to water outdoor plants. And setting your mower higher to 2.5 to 3.5 inches helps the turf retain more moisture without additional watering. These money-saving tips are courtesy of Indiana American Water. Find more ways to save and conserve at amwater.com.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card. They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Get it? With the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Good morning on this Wednesday. Beautiful sunshine, hazy conditions, warmer temperatures. Today's high 84, mostly clear, quiet, and mild overnight. Lows into the mid-60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the Level on the Go and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Great news, Casey.
What's that, Rob?
You're going to feel so much better about your city and yourself when I tell you the big breaking news.
Oh, great. What is it?
Joe Hogsett says he's not resigning.
Oh, that doesn't make me feel better. I'm sorry.
You're going to keep that same steady, reliable, emotionally together, definitely doesn't have a serious drinking problem hand in charge of this city for the foreseeable future.
Okay. I would say that Indianapolis needs a reset.
So he did an interview yesterday. Who do we know he did it with? Who did he do an interview with? He went on camera with somebody. So he blew off. He being Hogsett.
It was with Fox 59.
Fox 59. Okay. So he was supposed to do some event, and he totally blew it off. And they basically admitted, yeah, it's a dumpster fire wherever I go right now, and protesters are going to follow me around. So I'll just not do any mayoring today. He goes to lunch somewhere. The news gets word that he's lunching with someone. They go track him down. And then he ends up sitting down for this interview with Fox 59. And the guy just looks like just a wreck.
Like he's had a rough couple of years.
Like he's had a rough existence. And what's fascinating to me, this is what is so fascinating to me, is the media is more engaged now over Hogsett's clear cover-up, but also on some level involvement in the Thomas Carl Cook saga than they were 5 years ago.
Right.
When Hogsett allowed Cook to let the city burn to the ground. Hogsett, to this day, no one knows definitively where the guy was. His little goofy scumbag friend was running the show and allowed the city to burn. People died, all of this stuff. But they're more interested in trying to hold Hogsett to some level of account now over his unwillingness to hold Cook accountable on how he was treating women versus when, the hundreds of millions of dollars of economic damage, people dying, etc. They didn't lift a finger on that. Now they're super interested in holding this guy to some level of account.
So are you saying that we don't know who's been running the city, that possibly it's been unelected bureaucrats?
Well, it's fascinating that how much it sort of, in a weird way, mirrors Joe Biden. Because with Biden, I don't think Hogsett doesn't know where he is or can't. Well, sometimes he might not be able to walk off a stage, depending on what hour of the day it is. But it's a guy who everybody knows. It's the worst kept secret in Indianapolis. Has at various points had serious issues with alcohol. It's impeded his ability to do his job. Well, before we get into that, let's play the clip of him. Okay, so he not only says he's not resigning, but he also, Fox 59 tries to address these bizarro text messages that he had with Ellert, one of the women that's a Cook accuser, in which look, I've seen enough dudes drunk text ex-lovers at 2 a.m. in Broad Ripple to know when a guy's inebriated and in his feels. And these texts are incessant in nature. They're utterly ridiculous for a man to be sending to a woman half his age, much less a subordinate.
He says they've been taken out of context.
Okay, so here is Hogsett saying he's not going to resign, and the texts are no big deal.
Is it appropriate for a supervisor to engage in nighttime text messages of a personal nature with subordinates?
Well, we live in a 24-hour world, both campaign and, frankly, the business of government. So it is not unusual to perhaps become very familiar in the conversational style of people working together very closely. Again, it's a 24-hour cycle, and so you get to know one another very quickly. So I can understand, though, in retrospect, how my comments, text messages, may have been taken out of context.
Did you step over the line, especially because a lot of this was happening in the run-up to or during the Me Too era?
No, I don't believe I stepped over the line. I think it's fair to say that I had a very good working relationship with Caroline Ellert, who was the Marion County Democratic Party's executive director. I relied on Caroline Ellert's advice, and I think that was appropriate for me to do so.
It's appropriate for him to call her feisty, to tell her she needs his permission before she becomes involved in a relationship. It's, in his mind, appropriate for him to be sending her Happy Valentine's Day texts.
Again, so
he doesn't think there's anything wrong here.
I'm going to read you. Indy Star, of course, broke this story. Now, this stuff all came to light because it was left out of that report on Hogsett and Cook. And these are some of the messages that he sent to Ellert, which, by the way, well, that didn't even matter. Okay, I'm going to read these to you, okay?
Yeah.
This is a woman half his age who is a subordinate to him. And by the way, it doesn't matter whether you're a subordinate on the campaign or you're subordinate in the mayor's office. He's the mayor of the city of Indianapolis. This is totally wrong for someone you have power over to be doing this. Talk to me, please. Hello. It's only 9:36 p.m. Can you imagine me sending that to you? We're equals, right? We are equals on this show. It is the Kendall and Casey show. I have no power over you. You have no power over me. Can you imagine me sending those messages to you
At 9:36, anytime, actually, I would be like, what is wrong? What is going on?
Like,
what happened? What do you need?
When we were laughing the other day about the certified letter and having the fun conversation about who sent us a certified letter, how did I approach you with, like, to call you?
Yeah, you said you awake?
Yeah, like it wasn't like, hello.
Talk to me. You know what that reminds me of? Now, you know that my daughter doesn't live here in Indiana. She's a few states away. And occasionally she'll send me a, Mom, and if we're on the air and I don't get to it right away and it's something urgent, hello, Mom.
Yes.
I think any parent can relate to that.
She's your child.
That's my child, right? That's exactly how he's acting. Hello. Hello, talk to me.
Can you, okay, so Nathan is in his early 20s, our fabulous producer this week, which I think Landon and Nathan have proven what we said for years. We don't even need Kevin.
Poor Kevin.
Don't tell Kevin.
Kevin taking shrapnel. He's not even here.
Nathan is in his early 20s. It would not make him half my age, but it would certainly make me old. I am old enough technically, barely, but technically to be his father.
He is
okay,
half my age.
Yeah, well, he's more than half. You're more than half his age. But anyway, point is, can you imagine, take Ellert's name out and take Hogsett's name out, put Rob Kendall and Nathan in that position?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if there was something for the show and my text to Nathan were, hello, or talk to me, please, hello, it's only 9:36 p.m.
Yeah.
Would any person in a professional work environment, can you imagine if Nathan went in the next day and showed our boss, David Wood, those texts?
He would probably say, is something going on with Rob? I'm a little worried. Like, look what he sent me last night. Is everything okay?
It's utterly
He'd be
ridiculous.
concerned for your welfare.
It's utterly ridiculous, and I technically don't have any power over him. It's just he's on our show with us, but there's maybe some perception of power. And we're the same sex, and like we're not. I mean, like, right? Like, I'm not attracted to Nathan. Whatever. Point is, even in our environment, it would be just completely, utterly ridiculous, and people would go, "That's totally unacceptable." This is a guy in Hogsett who clearly has a drinking problem, who has had numerous issues. His little clown friend is Hansy McGee, according to these women. He knows, Hogsett knows the interactions based on the text and the electronic communication and the audios that these women had with Hogsett of who Cook was. And this is how he's behaving. And it goes back to what Peter Blanchard from Mere Indy said the other day, which is, why did he keep him around? Why did he bring him back? Now, Peter didn't use these exact words, but what he was saying was they're joined at the hip. It's the same dude.
It's the same picture.
You look at Hogsett, it is Cook. You look at Cook, it is Hogsett. He kept bringing him back because he thought the behavior was acceptable.
I'm really curious if Hogsett was sending texts like that during the summer of love to the state police. Talk to me. Hello, talk to me.
I wish he would have been.
Right? But he wasn't.
That's right. Yeah.
Even worse, he wasn't.
Hey, we're going to do much of the show is going to be dedicated to Hogsett and the city of Indianapolis today, because this city, if you do not live here and do not come here on the regular, I cannot emphasize enough what a just disaster it is here right now. And it is the capital city. It is the economic driver of the state. What is happening here affects no matter where you are hearing our voice at in the state of Indiana. Wherever you're hearing us from, you are affected by what's going on here. And now is the time, because every time this dude worms out of any sense of accountability, he worms out of any sense of being held and taken to task for the numerous egregious behaviors. When we come back, can we play some of the greatest Hogsett audio of all time?
Yes. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
In Oklahoma City, game 2. Oklahoma City still leads by 17 points.
I just got to figure out how to be better.
The Pacers are down by 19.
I don't think we had a single point in the paint in the first quarter.
The Pacers are down by 21 points.
We just played poorly. You can't be a team that's reactive.
The lead is back up to 22.
They never really were close. The NBA Finals return home to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Pacers, Thunder. Coverage of Game 3 starts Wednesday night at 8 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Hey guys, it's Rob for We Grow Hair Indy. You know, guys who are on top of their game, choose We Grow Hair Indy. People like Rajiv Ram, 2-time Olympic medal winner. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com and you'll see who these champions are. Top radio personalities, coaches, former NFL players. They know We Grow Hair Indy had the technology and results to grow their hair back. I chose We Grow Hair Indy because I wanted to get my confidence back. And every time I look in the mirror, I'm so glad I made the choice to go to We Grow Hair Indy. And you can get your confidence back. It's so simple. Head over to WeGrowHairIndy.com today or call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation, and you could be getting your confidence back. Be on top of your game and look like a champion. Call We Grow Hair Indy today. 317-522-2995.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP $105,195. Nautilus MSRP $60,195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number.
The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market, just 20 minutes north of Carmel. We're proud to bring you the freshest produce farmed right here in Indiana and across the Midwest. And don't miss our home-style fried chicken, scratch-made bakery, and a deli packed with ready-to-go favorites. Got a sweet tooth? Check out a variety of old-fashioned candies, the kind that brings back sweet memories from your childhood. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about local freshness, friendly faces, and food that feels like home. Wilson Farm Market. That's Wilson Farm Market.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
I ain't running for nothing. I'm running from things, but I ain't running for nothing.
That was last year, by the way.
Yeah.
That was Joe Hogsett, inebriated allegedly. Allegedly. I mean, a bunch of people who were there were like, that guy was sauced. Now, I think he tried to claim, or his staff tried to claim, no, he was fine. He just had a busy day.
Sure.
And it's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. I mean, that sounds like a guy who, boy, if indeed he just had a busy day, he needs to really adjust his schedule because that was not.
Get a little sleep, maybe.
I've had a lot of busy days. I didn't sound like that on a stage. And, you know, what's fascinating about this is the situation the city is in because of Joe Hogsett's leadership the past now 9 years. He was elected in 2015. And you look at the city and you go, what about the city is better than when he took over? What part of the governance of our city is better than when it took over? You know what the sort of because his inability to have any control over himself personally has hurt everyone here. Whether you work here, whether you live here, whether you do both, this place is a disaster. And I can't think of any better, and his inability to keep control of himself and his personal demons and the people around him. It is chaos in this city. And I can't think of any better example than these stupid bus lines. Because now everything's about to be shut down again on Washington Street for this stupid blue line. And we talked about this, I don't know, it was last week or 2 weeks ago when Jerry was in. But one of the great charms of the city of Indianapolis was the ease of travel to get around the city. The ability that on the busiest day of the year, I was able to get, which was race day, where there's 350,000 people, and there was a playoff game that night, right. I was still able to get downtown from my suburban estate in Brownsburg in about 40 to 45 minutes. The ease of travel has always been a major draw to people that you can get in your automobile, and unlike Chicago or New York or Los Angeles, you can get here and in and out, and everything is relatively affordable. They are gutting that, and they're spending half a billion dollars between the stupid red line and the purple line.
That nobody rides.
And the blue line. You're now destroying Washington Street. You're going to make Washington Street unable to be navigated in any sort of reasonable fashion. And I'm not just talking about the construction. I'm talking about when it's done. That is the Hogsett mayorship in a policy. You don't do anything about the roads, which are completely, I mean, they're unacceptable. And you spend all this money, lobby for all this money to be spent on these bus lines that very few people are using. You never see a plethora of people on these buses. And you're not putting the money towards things that people actually want and need and would use.
Correct.
And you're just ruining one of the major attractions of your city, which is the ease of the ability for people to get there and then travel once they're there.
And yet he's still hoping that his legacy will be an MLS team.
His legacy is going to be what it is now, which is a guy who had zero control over himself, a guy who had zero ability to put his demons to rest, a guy who had zero ability to overcome the things that had plagued him from years, if you talk to people who have known him or been around him, to put the city first. And that's what and you see it with Bohachik and what's going on with him. You see it with a guy like Bo Baird, what's going on with him. You saw it with a guy like Jim Lucas, what went on with him, where these guys cannot put their personal desires or demons or whatever, they cannot put them aside and put you, the taxpayer, first.
And yet they're defiant and say they have no plans to resign.
Right. They never quit.
Right.
They never quit.
Because they're going to hold on to that power as long as they can.
Because that's their life. Now, you have done something fabulous.
Well, when he was asked by reporters about some of the late night texts and texts about poetry that some of the women said they received from Hogsett, one of his cheerleaders, Ron Gibson, said that the after hours communication is part of running a campaign and that the texts about poetry might align with policy. So the poetry was intentional.
He wrote a poem to let Ellert know what he wanted to do with policy.
Correct. So I figured, you know what? If that's the case, I'm going to write a poem.
Oh, you wrote a poem.
This is the Ballad of Bad Hogsett.
Oh, how exciting! Now, do you want to let everybody know how you put this poem together?
With my brain.
I mean, I think we need to be candid. That doesn't make anything wrong. I think it makes it more impressive that the internet knows what a buffoon Hogsett is, to the point where it wasn't like you were, Longfellow here and you sat down and wrote this with a quill pen. You had the internet.
Well, yeah, this is AI.
Well, which makes it even more impressive that the internet knows.
I gave it the right prompt, and this is what it's.
The internet knows what a dumpster fire this guy is. That this is what the internet came up with.
In Indy's halls where echoes ring, there sits a man who's done some things. Joe Hogsett, with his careful grin, swore change was coming, but it did not begin. He promised streets without the holes, but dodge we must, like track and goals. The lights go out, the crime goes up, and still he smiles and lifts his cup. Potholes bloom like springtime weeds while folks are begging for their needs. Downtown sleeps under boarded eyes and no one listens to the city's cries. 8 years gone and what's to show? A fancier speech, a polished show, a bike lane here, a press event, but little change for dollars spent. Oh, Hogsett, sir, you've held the stage, but Indy's worn and full of rage. A mayor's chair is not a throne, so now it is time for you to go home.
It's very well done.
Congratulations, AI.
He's such a wreck that the internet was like, here's what I can come up with. All right, we'll take a break. Merritt will be with us. Nobody knows this city better than Jim Merritt. We'll actually go back. What's interesting to me is a lot of the same people who the Hogsett campaign weaponized on Jim Merritt when he ran for mayor in 2019, are many of the people who have now turned on Joe Hogsett. And it's fascinating to me to see how these same people now view him and this world completely different. We'll talk with Merritt when we come back about that 2019 campaign and Hogsett and the condition of this city. We'll get to the bottom of a bunch of stuff when we come back.
It's 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text TEAR to 369369. That's TEAR to 369369. TEAR to 369369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Sorting out the madness. Sunny, 67 on Monument Circle. 85 is the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:32. A curfew going into effect in Los Angeles Tuesday night after protests continued for the fifth day against ICE deportation raids.
Some of the 700 Marines in Los Angeles are expected to be deployed today to protect ICE agents, with thousands of National Guard troops waiting in the wings. So the LAPD says dozens of protesters were arrested for refusing to follow the curfew put in place by Mayor Karen Bass, who says it will likely last for several days. And California Governor Gavin Newsom is now vowing consequences for violent protesters while still managing to throw digs at President Trump for even sending in the troops.
Fox's Brooke Singman reporting. The governor also asked a court to stop military from helping immigration authorities after previously suing the federal government over the deployments. Protesters are also taking to the streets of places like New York City, Boston, and Philadelphia. Protesters were telling ICE to get out of the city as they continue to stand in solidarity with immigrants and against President Trump's nationwide immigration crackdown. NYPD says at least 80 people were taken into custody, claiming that demonstrators grew disorderly and started throwing bottles and traffic cones onto the roadway. President Donald Trump speaking to military members at Fort Bragg Tuesday as part of a celebration of the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. Like Fort Bragg, the president says other bases will also have name changes from the Biden administration undone. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was also there. And the defense secretary has faced some questions about the lack of details about the defense budget, which the administration said would cost around $1 trillion. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. Stocks ticking higher. The Dow up 18 points, 42,866. The S&P 500 also up just 9 points, 6,038. And the NASDAQ is in the green, 60 points up, 21,941. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Have you ever checked your Social Security statement to see how much money you'll get in retirement? Guess what? This number could be a lot less or a lot more than the number on your statement. It's Hammer and Nigel, and you could discover how you could get every penny that's rightfully yours with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy. We trust Bill, and you can too.
So if you have saved more than $200,000 but have not yet filed for Social Security, schedule that free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery. 317-648-5120. This free analysis takes the guesswork out of filing for your benefits, and most importantly, it could help you get every penny that's rightfully yours. Free analysis. Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So can the Hogshead machine be toppled? Let's find out from a guy who took it on. Didn't go great, but he took it on. Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Jim Merritt, you know him from 30 years in the Indiana Senate, and he also made the egregious decision to run for mayor of Indianapolis several years ago. How are you, sir?
Good to see you.
Okay, so you got to sit back at this and look at how you were treated like absolute garbage when you ran for mayor, and they made you out to be Attila the Hun and Vlad Dracula and, just the worst human being alive.
Well, those 10 months were very interesting and told me a lot about the Republican Party and Marion County and the state, and as well as the Democrat. It told me a lot about a lot of things.
What's interesting, though, now is the people, because it's been 6 years ago now you ran for mayor. And by the way, I told you not to run for mayor.
You did.
I said, don't do this.
Yeah.
Nobody... Casey, the theme of our
Nobody
show
listens
is
to you?
Politicians who don't listen to me, and then exactly what I tell them is going to happen happens. And you were too good.
And then they're surprised by it.
Jim, you were too good to run for mayor of that city, and I didn't want to see it happen to you. And plus, I had to lose you for a year on State House happenings.
Yeah, but I love my city, and I grew up here. And when I was growing up, it was Naptown.
Yeah.
And then Luger came, and Hudnuck came, and we've just built a city that is worldwide, known as just not the race and cornfields. It's so many different things. It's a place where we have vibrant people, and there's always something going on, and the convention business is hot. We're building hotels, and things are going great. But right now, the leadership is embarrassing, and I kind of at the end of my rope about it.
Okay, so what I wanted to say was when you ran for mayor, Hogsett utilized a lot of
$5 million.
But also the left to mobilize against you. And I remember there was some parade you were pondering walking in, and then you felt I can't even walk in this parade because of the safety. They were threatening to throw those brick milkshakes at you, or it was utterly ridiculous. But now a lot of those people are turning on Hogsett. That's what's interesting to me is a lot of the same type of people, maybe not the exact same people. In some cases it could be, but who were weaponized whatever against you. And Hogsett's this great guy, and we can't have this far right, lunatic Jim Merritt, and Hogsett's our guy. Now they look at Hogsett and say, you got to go. It's interesting, as Michael Scott said, how the turntables have turned.
Well, it's interesting you say that because if there was a political godfather I had, it was Bill Hudnut. And he also, Mayor Hudnut had passed by then, and the mayor craftedly had made it like Hudnut had endorsed him. And so it was, there were a lot of things that went on in that campaign. But what I'm here to say today is that you need a vibrant leader. You need somebody that's on cue, that is going to represent our worldwide known city at a time where you've got the NBA Finals, you've got a Final Four coming, you just had a successful race, a 500-mile race, and you've got a world that is in flames in Los Angeles, and this really looks like 2020 when we had the riots downtown, and he was absent. And are we going to have riots here again? And you just hope the city itself is ready for any kind of activity that's a riot that could wreck windows, wreck Monument Circle
Casey,
again.
You have to step up. Jim's made it very clear. You have to step up and run for mayor of Indianapolis.
Mayor?
That's the only option left.
We need people to stand up in the Democrat Party and show a spine.
Oh, well, that's not my party. But Hogsett, it does seem like he's trying to elevate Indy like Karen Bass is trying to elevate Los Angeles on a national stage, only incorrectly.
Well, yeah, and incorrectly is being nice. I think right now, people, you don't want to see anything going on in the city, but I don't think people in the city right now, if they know what's going on in Los Angeles, if they knew what happened in Minneapolis 20 years ago, probably are feeling very uneasy with what might happen this weekend, and there's no calming force.
Jim Merritt is our guest. Okay, so Hogsett, we said during State House Happenings, he's like the Keith Richards type guy, where every so often something happens and you're like, that's it, you're done. You know, the thing is always like, nuclear holocaust, Keith Richards and some cockroaches are surviving. In the case of politics, no matter what it is, it seems like the guy just finds a way to get out of it. If you could disappear during the riots where people died and there was millions of dollars of economic damage and the businesses destroyed, stuff stolen, if he got a free pass on that, why would we believe that him covering up his goofy scumbag friend, Thomas Carl Cook, why would we believe this is what's going to take him down?
Well, 2501 City County building, in that office, it seems like it's kind of playtime. It's kind of a circus. And, you know, you kind of worry that who's home, who's leading the show.
Were you surprised that Josh Bain came out and called for his resignation?
No, I think Josh, city county councilor, Republican, he's got a backbone. And I look to people like Vop, who is the president of the council, who really mismanaged that hearing the other night. And I think that it's time for Democrats and Republicans to stand up and say, we've got a world-class city. We're ruining the reputation of it. Who's in charge? And it's time for somebody else to be in charge.
Okay, so that's interesting because you're talking about Vop Osley, the council president who boots Lauren Roberts, one of the Cook / Hogsett, I guess, accusers, out while she's trying to speak. It was he weaponizes the deputy sheriffs against her, throws her posse or whatever we're calling those people behind her out as well. You run a bunch of meetings.
Right.
You were a big wig at the Indiana General Assembly. Yeah. You ever have to give anybody the boot ski at a meeting for being unruly?
No. When I chaired the utility committee, we had a lot of people that were not in my end of the idea, my side of the argument, and we would give them as much time to speak so they can get it all out. The members of the committee could ask them questions. And so it kind of would exhaust the issue, and that's how you take care of the situation. What I guess my problem is it doesn't look like there's a serious nature to the business of the city at the city county building right now, and with that,
I think you could eliminate the phrase "it doesn't look like."
Yeah,
there's look at the city; it's a dumpster fire.
Well, yeah, but look like or be. It's all about appearances. It's about the perception, and when you have a perception of discourse that is just total chaos, that is not good for a city that is really the home of a lot of activity that's positive for the city of Indianapolis.
It really seemed like someone like Lauren Roberts was just re-traumatized again. What was Vop Osley trying to prove? Like, what was the point of that?
I think that he lost control of the meeting. And I think some of the city county councilors making comments with microphones on added to the chaos, the circus nature of it. And the city of Indianapolis, people listening to this have to understand that right now it's kind of it's a dust storm at the city county building, and the mayor, who's got 2 years left on his term, and he's kind of floating along, and he probably ought to take a look at it and say, what else can I accomplish here? Because the earth is moving under him. He should resign. Well,
that goes to the Indiana General Assembly to make that happen.
Well, I mean,
our friend Abdul has. There are ways for, and we talked about this on State House Happenings. There are ways for the city of Indianapolis to take care of this problem themselves.
Yeah,
Casey, you got to file a lawsuit. We'll get into this with Abdul later on how you, Casey, could actually do it. You could do it.
As an Indianapolis resident?
As a Marion County resident, you can.
You could do it and be the person
Do we know any
who
lawyers?
saves the city. What's that?
Do we know any lawyers?
We know one. He'll be with us to wrap up the show and say how you could be the hero this city. This city
he won't
needs.
charge me anything.
Yeah, anybody listening to this has got to know this is a very serious issue. There's a circus going on in the Cindy County Council along with the mayor's office. And we have issues with LA in flames that could spread here. And we need a calm voice at the top that's going to say, everything's going to be fine. We've got everything prepared. If a brood of criminals comes from Chicago like they did in 2020, we know how to handle it. We're not going to have 2020 riots all over again.
Real quick, about 30 seconds. It's not good that Braun nor Drinksky McGee have said anything really about this. I've heard publicly. You know that there's a rumor this is going to happen. And I thought Braun was supposed to be Mr. Law and Order guy. How have Braun and Hogsett not issued some sort of joint statement like, look, if you come here, here's who's been going to be unleashed. Here's what they've been ordered to do. Proceed as you like. There's been nothing from any of these people.
All we've heard about security with the city is that the NBA, with the finals, the NBA finals coming here, that they are taking security so seriously, and you don't want a clash of the NBA finals and something going on in your city, in a chaotic manner, and so. We've heard a lot from the city that there are a lot of people from the FBI wandering the streets, making sure everything's safe. But that's all we've
Better
heard.
behave, Casey.
I'm not going to be downtown this
Better
weekend.
behave. All right.
Just putting that out there.
Find him on Twitter, Jim_Merritt. Merritt in the Morning is the podcast. YouTube is on Facebook. Jim Merritt, thank you.
Robert.
It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, more fallout from that wild City County Council meeting. And Joe Hogsett says he is not resigning. Hammer's back, too. It's at 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
When you golf in Missouri, the courses are so close, you'll spend more time on the fairway than the freeway. After the back nine, enjoy world-class dining and distilleries, shops, spas, museums, and more. Find your new golf MO at visitmo.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
There's something timeless about radio. It's where stories are told, ideas are shared, and communities stay connected. Our generation grew up with it, and we still believe in the power of tuning in. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe planning for retirement should feel just as familiar and trusted. That's why we're bringing real conversations and practical advice to the airwaves. Join us every Sunday at 9 p.m. for our Retire with Purpose Radio Hour, right here on 93.1 WIBC. We'll talk about what really matters in retirement, income you can count on, choices you can feel good about, and a future that reflects your values. Because some things, like good planning and good radio, never go out of style. Howard Bailey Financial, retirement planning that speaks your language. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com. The Retire with Purpose Radio Hour is a paid placement on each airing station.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Road trip!
This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
Check out what's going on with 93 WIBC.
Listen to Hammer and Nigel this week for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Yes, the Fragile 2025 Tour, Thursday, October 30th at Old National Center.
More info online at WIBC.com.
Okay, producer Carl is here with some very disturbing information, which we'll get to in a second. But then, before we get to that, I did want to preview. Coming up next hour, we're going to have a fascinating conversation with Ryan Hedrick from the newsroom.
Yeah.
Ryan is very open about his struggles with addiction, which he has overcome, and he's doing very well. And him and Matt Bear have the fabulous Sporting Sobriety podcast. And Ryan and I were having a conversation before we went on the air today about how Joe Hogsett and the way he's running the city, has run the city since he's been mayor, including his personal behavior, is, for someone like Ryan, it mirrors the way his life looked when he was struggling with addiction.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be with us. I think this is going to be an absolutely fascinating conversation from a guy who has been through it all and has overcome it and come out on the other side much better and been as low as you can be. So that'll be next hour. I was going to read this. Our buddy Briggs over at IndyStar has this hilarious piece about Mike Braun pondering this run for president, but I'm going to save it because Carl came in here, producer Carl for Tony Katz.
Braun's been bumped by Carl.
What is going on? What did you send us? What's happening?
So in the last segment, you were talking about the potential for riots here in Indianapolis.
It's this weekend, right? I thought there was some No King something.
This is completely separate. This was a post by PSL Indianapolis.
Who's that?
The Socialism and Liberation Party.
That's a thing?
PSL Indianapolis. And it literally says, emergency protest from L.A. to Indy. Ice out. Game Bridge, June 11th, 7 p.m. That's tonight.
So the Pacers play tonight.
That's tonight.
Yes.
Game
They're
3 of the NBA Finals.
planning problems for tonight.
Outside of the...
Outside of game, it says it. I sent it to both of you, and it's also posted on Tony Katz's rundown for the first hour.
Yeah, it goes on to say the working people of Indianapolis are gathering outside Gamebridge Fieldhouse before the Pacers game to demand an immediate end to Trump's illegal ice raids.
So they want the Pacers and the Thunder, to lock arms and say we're not going to play the game tonight. We're gonna demand.
No, I just expect what they want to do is cause disruptions to the people that are trying to get to the game.
Because nothing endears people to your cause like preventing them from leisure time and enjoying a historic event. These people are the worst. They're just the worst. So a bunch of people are going to try to go to the game night, a historic night for our city, where the Pacers are in the NBA Finals for the second time in the history of the franchise. First time in 25 years. City pride. People are fired up. They got their gold. They got their blue on. And then
they're taking it as an opportunity to be disruptive.
So what are they going to throw bricks at these people?
Block streets. So I'm a native of L.A., so during the Lakers, when they were in the finals, they block streets, shake your car, jump on your car, that sort of stuff.
And they probably figure, as inept as our mayor is, and the fact that our elderly governor appears to have zero interest in actual governing, and he's just, we got to read that. We got to read that piece from Briggs. It's just classic. They probably figure we'll just get away with it. Has Braun said anything, for all the ripping of Holcomb and how he did nothing during the riots, has Braun said anything about the state police or the National Guard?
No, the latest thing from Braun was posing for pictures with the Secretary of Agriculture.
Secretary of Agriculture?
Secretary Rollins.
Isn't that Micah's job? Isn't he in charge of agriculture?
Yes.
Where was Bobblehead?
I'm not in the picture.
So not only did they take all of Micah's jobs and he just let him because he doesn't actually want to govern. He just wants to go campaign and fight with crazy people in Boone County. Braun's now saying, well, we let you keep this one position, but I'm just going to take that from you too. And Micah said nothing about that.
Yeah. You know who else was in the picture? Representative Jim Baird.
Did they ask him about his kid?
No.
Okay, so tonight you're telling me, Carl, the crazy people.
I'm not telling you. I'm saying what they posted. And they said, hey, tonight's an emergency protest.
An emergency?
Emergency.
At 7 p.m. as people drive in to downtown to go to Gamebridge.
I've been downtown for multiple games. You wouldn't catch me dead here. Well, you might catch me dead. That's why I'm not going to be here tonight. These people are gross. And the politicians are gross for letting it happen.
Yeah. Somebody needs to say something.
Carl, thanks for contributing to the show today. We appreciate you. Sure.
Brian Hedrick's going to join us next. It is 93 WIBC.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 62225. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Progressive knows you've got enough to worry about in life.
Hi, it's your life again. Feel like another year is just slipping away? Yeah, remember all those New Year's resolutions you made? You still haven't finished the first book. Just 19 more to go. I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't a very realistic goal. Have you ever considered that you intentionally self-sabotage? So what's that about?
So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Technology Recyclers is the safe and ethical choice for your computer and electronics recycling. R2 certified, 100% landfill free, guaranteed destruction of data, and absolutely free pickups. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Emmer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, how the mayor of Indianapolis is responding for calls to resign, what a nurse did to help a 10-year-old at an Indiana lake, and the city is gearing up for Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Another illegal immigrant arrested in Los Angeles. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Not in the raids that led to the protests, someone who took part in the demonstrations.
ICE has arrested a previously deported illegal alien caught on video throwing a Molotov cocktail at law enforcement during the riots here in Los Angeles on Saturday.
That's Fox's Bill Malugin. Assistant Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin just told Fox.
This is the perfect example of people who should not be in this country.
The overnight curfew's been lifted in downtown Los Angeles, put in place after vandalism, looting, and clashes with law enforcement.
The first of a series of curfews, we are told by Mayor Karen Bass, that will be imposed here in LA until they regain control of the streets. So now we await to see whether the protesters converge, as they have done every one of the last 5 days, here at the Metropolitan Detention Center. This is where some of the immigrants who have been arrested in the sweeps are being held.
That's Fox's Jonathan Hunt. Now, President Trump posted on Truth Social this morning as Marines get ready to arrive today to join National Guard troops. If he didn't send them, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is challenging the deployment in court.
Democracy is under assault before our eyes.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is about to testify at a House hearing. He'll likely be asked about China after 2 days of trade talks.
President Trump seems pleased with the deal that his trade negotiators reached with China last night in London. He posted on Truth Social, in all caps, I might add, that our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me.
Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble at the White House. That Trump post says U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports will remain 55%. China's tariff on American goods will be 10%. Inflation rose less than expected last month, just 1/10 of a point for consumer prices. From April, President Trump posted great numbers, again urging the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates by 1%. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Thinking over the situation. Sunny, 70 on Monument Circle, the high today being 85. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Incredibly regrettable. That's how Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett sums up what happened Monday at a council meeting. Ryan Hedrick has the story.
At that meeting, Lauren Roberts, a woman who's accused Hogsett's former right-hand man Thomas Cook of sexual harassment, was thrown out because she wouldn't stop talking. Hogsett told Wish TV.
Well, I think it's important that we continue to evolve the process for protection for all employees.
Several Indianapolis political leaders want Hogsett to resign, but he says he won't.
And we've got 2.5 years left in this term, and we have a lot to accomplish.
Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A nurse at Raccoon Lake Beach in western Indiana is credited with administering life-saving aid to a 10-year-old girl who was unresponsive in the water. The girl had been underwater for 2 to 3 minutes before her grandfather brought her back to the beach. The girl did regain consciousness and was airlifted to Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis. The nurse has been identified as Ashley Peccinino. The Indiana State Fair is out with a few more performances for the Hoosier Lottery Free Stage this summer. Acts announced this morning: country music singer Max McNown, classic rock band America, Indianapolis's 107.1 Radio Latina with Banda Triana, and a co-headline show featuring country music legends Phil Vassar and band Lone Star. The first free show at the State Fair is Friday, August 1st. You can check out the rest of the free concert schedule so far in a story at WIBC.com. Tyrese Halliburton says he has a better idea of how to play the Oklahoma City Thunder now that they're 2 games into the finals.
Playing 2 games against these guys is really good. It gives me more film to watch, see where I can be better. Feel like I haven't been great by any means through the first 2 games, so I'm just trying to take what I can to prepare me for Game 3 and just trying to be the best version of myself. So.
Halliburton was seen walking a little gingery following Game 2, but Coach Rick Carlisle says he's good to go for tonight. Game 3 tips off at 8:30 Eastern Time inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. It's the first finals game in the city in 25 years. Indiana and OKC right now tied at 1 game apiece. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall Casey back in 1 minute.
When people think sleep apnea, they think CPAP. Now at Advent, we do all we can to help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine. And most sleep apnea sufferers who come to Advent are going to be able to avoid a CPAP altogether. Our unique Advent approach using simple in-office solutions can get your nose working and throat open all under one roof. You see, the root of every snoring and obstructive sleep apnea problem lies within the throat, nose, or both. At Advent, we know when we get the nose and throat working properly, most snoring and sleep apnea problems will subside. And we have the most simple and convenient, ultra-effective in-office solutions that can do just that. And this is why people have traveled by planes, trains, and automobiles from corners of the world you would never think of to find the sleep apnea and snoring relief you won't find elsewhere.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Most insurance accepted.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
One of our own made a fascinating observation about how Joe Hogsett is running the city of Indianapolis this morning, and I said we've got to discuss. It's Kendall Casey show, and Rob Casey's here. We're joined by our pal, newsman extraordinaire Ryan Hedrick from the WIBC newsroom. Ryan Hedrick, hello.
Good morning.
All right, so you've been you've been very open about your struggles with drugs, with addiction, and how it essentially, ruined your life, your relationships, basically every facet of your existence.
Almost killed me.
Yeah. And you and Matt Bear, traffic man extraordinaire, have teamed up for some sort of like super team. You're like the mega powers. And you do the Supporting Sobriety podcast where you tell your stories, you tell the things you went through, you interview people in the field of dealing with addiction. And I think what you and Matt do in terms of exposing the struggles that people go through, highlighting how people successfully deal with them, etc. I think it's a service to the community that just absolutely can't be underscored.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Actually, cheap plug here. Episode 57 is out this morning. It's caretakers and sponsors and how the dynamic gets along, because sometimes if you're in recovery, like I don't think Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett is right now, but he probably needs to be. If you're in recovery, you need a sponsor, and there's a dynamic at work. And we talk about that and talk to caretakers about how they can nurture that relationship.
So wherever you get your podcast, Supporting Sobriety, it's actually it's great radio. I mean, even if you're not struggling with addiction, chances are you do know somebody, whether you know it or not. But you had said something to me. We were talking about, obviously, look, there's just mass calamity involving the mayor right now on so many fronts. And you said something to me that I thought was just incredibly insightful. You said, Joe Hogsett is running the city of Indianapolis the way I used to run my life when I was in the throes of addiction.
Yeah, we talked about the first step. The first step is all about unmanageability and powerlessness. And right now, I think the latter is not working in Hogsett's favor because he believes he's in power, but he's totally out of control. And the city, Indianapolis, is the most under-constructed city in the world. I mean, you can go anywhere and see detours, potholes, taxpayer money being misappropriated for pet projects. But if you're Mayor Joe Hogsett, you have to look at your city and be like, we have the greatest infrastructure here. We have a great host city for conventions. It's just not working because his spirituality is off. He has a disease, I believe, that his disease is telling him, I don't have a disease. He's a drinker, and it's well documented, and we've seen videos of him on the stage losing it, and our very uncurious media is not asking questions. It's because he's using.
Well, you know how to spot people that struggle, right? You know when you see someone, this is a person that's struggling. You may not know the exact thing, but you know the people that are in the throes are dealing with something.
Joe Hogsett is Ryan Hedrick about 20 years ago. Joe Hogsett is me about 10 years ago because my life was so unmanageable. His thoughts are all over the place. And here's one thing that really resonates with me about my recovery, and Joe Hogsett lacks this, is empathy. Empathy is obviously the understanding of somebody else's sorrows, somebody else's condition. When Maggie walked into the Oakmont yesterday to confront Hogsett.
This is a former employee who had resigned. It was a very high-profile resignation. She laid out why she was resigning, et cetera, and it was because of a lot of the chaos being created in city government.
Yeah, so, I mean, when she confronted him, he lacked empathy, and that's one of the things in my active addiction that I lacked. I was unable and unwilling. I didn't even recognize empathy as an essential. And you can see drinking that have caused this. It's a condition. I told you, Casey, off the air. The disease of addiction and alcoholism is the only disease in the world that will make you deny you have it because it's a spiritual disease.
Do you think he's self-sabotaging?
I think he's in the denial phase right now. I think he's in he's struggling with it. He knows last year, didn't his wife leave him during the campaign?
Yeah, 23.
He appeared at a ceremony with a black eye, and he's like, "Oh, I tripped and fell." I mean, when I was using everything.
Excuses.
Yeah, every relationship I had went to hell. And that is exactly, so he might be in the sabotage period, but I think he has to come out of the denial. And again, I'm here to help. I mean, the Supporting Sobriety inbox is open. If you reach out to me, it will be in complete anonymity, which is a spiritual
That's it for
principle.
anybody, right?
Yeah, that's it for anybody in the State House dealing with drinking, the mayor's office, the city council. I am here to help. You could hit me up on X at Sure to Cover, and I'll be sure to get with you.
Ryan Hedrick is our guest from the WIBC Newsroom. They do the fabulous Supporting Sobriety podcast. And look, we long ago reached a crisis point with the guy's inability to run the city, and that's the issue. It's not whether the guy has a problem. It's not whether you don't want him to get help or not. It's that it's just like with Bo Hotchick. It's just like with Bo Baird. When your issues impede in your ability to run the city or the state government or whatever, you got to get out of that, because your issues are affecting millions or hundreds of thousands of other people. You gave a fascinating analogy when we were talking before the show today. You talked about what your room was like when you were in the throes of addiction, and how it sort of mirrors what's going on with the city.
Yeah, so I would look around in my room and think it was clean, but there'd be stuff strewn across the floor. And in my mind, it was manageable because I was going to get to it. I was going to get to it a little bit later after I finish using. And I think with Hogsett, you look around the city, you see construction zones and cones and potholes and tape and detour signs. I mean, you have to be an expert navigator and use Google Maps. Sometimes the detours don't even show up on Google Maps. His unmanageability and the ineffective leadership is a symptom of the disease of addiction. There are many, many symptoms of the disease of addiction, but unmanageability spiritually, which translates to outward unmanageability, is how the city is being run right now.
Could we hypothetically say that he has multiple addictions?
I don't believe in being cross-addicted. I believe in one solution for one disease. I think it's too difficult to go down the rabbit hole of being cross-addicted and multiple addictions. I think addiction is a spiritual thing that affects your body, mind, and soul, and you can see it just outwardly. Even if you don't know anything about addiction, you can tell when somebody's in crisis, which I think we've used that word before.
Would you consider the need to hang on to power an addiction?
Oh, yeah. I mean, power is an addiction in and of itself, but I think it's a symptom of the larger sign, which is the spiritual crisis that Joe Hogsett is in. I think all of that is under the umbrella, and whether you categorize it as power hungry, alcoholism, drug addiction, I think it just fits under addiction. That's how I like to simplify it for people.
How do you, because it's not, again, there are many people who, like yourself, like Matt Baer, who have fought addiction. You come out on the other side much better. You're incredible gifts to the community. You know, like, I have no doubt that if you were to suffer a serious head injury and run for public office, that you would be totally in control of yourself at all times. That's what this is about. It's about these politicians not being in control of themselves, not if they have had a problem or an addiction. Everybody goes through something, right? And it's not judging that. And people come out better and they're totally fit to serve in public office. How did you get to the point where you maintain? You are always the most happy person I've ever seen and the most positive person I think I've ever met. How did you get to that point, and how were you able to mentally flip your frame of reference on the world? Not just actions, but your frame of reference.
I mean, behind the scenes, like, I'm still a mess. I mean, I have not arrived. I will never arrive. I don't treat people well all the time. I don't have a great attitude all the time. But the one thing I've done for many, many years now, is I haven't found an excuse. I haven't manufactured an excuse to continue my alcohol, my drug addiction. That does not mean that I don't use people, places, and things. I could use money. I could use women. I mean, I haven't used women since I've gotten married, but I can use people and objects to continue my addiction. I don't take any credit for it. It's God, it's my sponsor, it's the rooms, it's the meetings. I mean, I'm in a 90 and 90 now, 4 years clean. I'm doing 90 meetings in 90 days again because I don't have it figured out. Whatever people think about addiction, it is insidious. It will show up without your permission. And again, I think the untreated addict and alcoholic is it's a tragedy. And I think that's where Joe Hogsett is. He's untreated. He's going unchecked because he has a bunch of yes men.
I was going to ask you this because Blanchard, when Peter Blanchard was in here from Mirror Indy, and I'm not using his exact words, but he basically said Hogsett and Cook met each other when he was a U.S. attorney. There was some sort of kinship between them. Again, he didn't use these exact words, but paraphrasing whatever, they sort of like enabled each other. That's why he protected him. He protects him back. That's probably the worst thing for somebody with an addictive personality to have is another person or a central person around them who protects, whether for power or whatever, the behavior, because you need a constant level of accountability.
Yeah, and it's a codependent relationship. The person that's being codependent wants to be needed. So whoever this guy you're talking about, he wanted to be needed. I don't think maybe people outwardly enable people, but I think codependency is a disease in and of itself. I need you to need me to justify my existence because there's something inside of me. It's a God-sized hole that we talk about that can't be filled. And codependency is another spiritual condition that people need to heal from. I need you to need me, so don't go away, please, because you validate me in some sick kind of way. That's the best way I could sum up codependency. And I think that's what Peter Blanchard is who you're talking about. That's what I think he was suffering from.
No. I was saying he was reporting for Mirror Indy. He was talking about the relationship between Cook and Hogsett.
Okay, that's right. I'm sorry. So I mixed that up. But Thomas Cook
Peter's very lovely and seems very well together.
Thomas Cook was absolutely codependent. Absolutely. That was a relationship. And I mean, we could go down that trail, but Thomas Cook was an addict in and of himself. Just the things that he was accused of doing, just sick. My prayers are with the survivors.
Supporting Sobriety is a phenomenal podcast. It's fascinating. Even if you don't think you know someone who's suffering with addiction or you're not suffering with addiction, you probably do. But it's also a fascinating look into human behavior, how humans interact with one another. Every time I listen to it, I'm amazed at the great work that you and Matt Baer do, and everybody should check it out because it's incredibly compelling content every week.
Real quick, we're losing 4 to 5 people a day. 4 to 5 people a day are dying in Indianapolis from fentanyl poisoning, fentanyl overdoses, whatever. And it's the most underreported thing that we have in this country. Addiction, not just for my own selfish needs, but check it out, please. Follow me on X and also the Supporting Sobriety podcast. Share it, please.
What is the X account?
It's at supporting_sobriety, but just follow me at Sure to Cover
there you go.
On X, and I've shared episode 57 this morning.
Very good. Ryan Hedrick, you are a national treasure. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
you understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work,
as long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
When you drive home,
is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
Traffic when you need it.
Stopped on 465 again.
And updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Home sales activity is good, not great. So many homes, if improperly marketed, are sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. The expert realtor I recommend is Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried you need costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Kevin and Angela in Greenwood had to say about working with Mark Deedle. The big home was too much, and it was time for Dad to move into a maintenance-free community, but we needed cash from the home to fund the change. We reached out to the Mark Deedle team, who helped the entire process from selling belongings to prepping the home for maximum value. We went on the market and sold for $5,000 over asking price in less than 7 days. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Deedle, 317-755-4232. For all the details, or go online to markdeedle.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of their best stamped concrete patio through June 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
Can I read this?
Yes, you can read. I've seen you do it.
Closing paragraph from James Briggs in his new column in Indy Star.
Yeah, he did put out an opinion piece. Mike Braun is failing Indiana, yet wants to be president.
Yeah, so Adam Wren of Politico and Importantville, who once declared me the most powerful broadcaster in the state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's fastest way to my heart, Casey. Just say nice things about me.
Say nice things.
He had put out a report that said he had heard from reliable sources that Braun is exploring or beginning the process of exploring the idea of running for president of the United States, which for those of us who live here and have just lived through this last legislative session, you can't laugh at that hard enough. I mean, the guy was a complete dumpster fire as governor. What do we get? You're going to get higher property taxes. You're going to get higher income taxes. You're getting higher gas taxes. You're getting enhanced utility bills through this SMR bill that he signed.
Right.
You're going to get massive tolling, new tolling, and massive tolling increases. They raise taxes at the end of the legislative session to balance the budget because they can't forecast or manage money. And his response to that, Braun's response to that is, hey, I should run for president.
Make America Indiana.
And, you know, one of the things that has become kind of obvious about Braun, especially at this stage of his existence, is he's some filthy rich guy with too much time and money on his hands, and he just gets bored and goes, okay, I've done that. I'll run for the next thing.
Right. That's it. He disliked his first term as U.S. Senate so much that he left after one term, right? And now less than 6 months into his governorship here, there's already rumblings that, okay, I'm ready to move on.
And Briggs actually touches on this, and it's really interesting, which is you saw how inept Braun actually was in terms of infrastructure and governance when he allowed Walter, his little puppet, to lose at the convention last year for lieutenant governor. That campaign they ran was horrendous. She was like not going places without him. At these events, he was speaking. At the convention, she walked up. They let her walk up on stage by herself. She has the personality of glue.
And this was despite Donald Trump's endorsement of her.
Well, and you know, Braun goes up there and introduces her, and he's there like some grandpa who just got out of his recliner with his blue shirt. And it's like, that should have been the first red flag of how they allowed her to lose with every competitive advantage available to her. And it is just, I mean, it's these people's need for power and more power. And it's sort of in a weird way like what Ryan Hedrick just talked about, where it's this self-validation thing. And the self-validation for a guy like Braun is the next office, the next thing. Oh, I've been governor for 1 year. Not even 1 year, for 5 months, 6 months, whatever. And I've done such a great job in my own mind that I'm going to now run. I'm going to run for president.
Yeah.
Hey, I've bought a state house seat. I bought a U.S. Senate seat. I bought a governor's seat. What's the next thing I can buy? Hey, how about the presidency?
How about we gain a little interest in actually governing?
Well, right. The state is horribly run. And it is not any better run under Braun and Micah than it was under Holcomb and Suzanne Crouch.
You had to think about it for a second.
That was like this is the question I keep asking to backroom Braun and Bobblehead is, what was the point of electing you guys? The taxes are higher. The government is bigger. There's more crony capitalism than ever. The rich got richer. The poor get poorer. What was the point of electing either of you two guys? What got better because you're there?
Well, you got to wonder, whose idea is this? Is this Governor Braun's idea to explore the possibility of being president? Or is this somebody else in his camp saying, this is what I want to do, and I can't get there unless you do?
Hey, by the way, did Mike ever make that video he promised us about the taxes going up in the budget?
I don't believe so.
Did that ever get released? Huh. He's probably busy. Was he at another Pizza King as he moved on to the Pizza Hut? So he did not fulfill his promise to us to make the video about how the Republicans raised taxes by $1 billion to balance the budget this year.
Right.
He did not do that. All right. So here is, I thought maybe I missed it. I wanted to make sure I give credit if he made that video. He did not. Okay. Here is what Briggs wrote at the end of this column, and it's just fabulous and so perfect. The only thing ahead for Braun, 71, is retirement. He can either come up with something productive to do and try to leave a lasting impact on Indiana, or keep doing TV hits and signing inconsequential executive orders to look busy. Either way, his presidential ambition is a fantasy.
Doing things to look busy. Reminds me when I worked at a fast food restaurant, you know, in between the lunch and the dinner rush, when there's not a lot to do other than wipe the counter off. Just doing this to look busy. And the other thing is there a lot of demand for him to run for president? Are people banging down his doors saying, we need you? Your leadership is outstanding. We must take this platform nationwide.
Of course not. And you look at, this is why like these poor, well-meaning people who went and met with him at the governor's mansion about the property taxes. This guy doesn't care about you at all. He's not interested in fixing the system. He broke the system further than it had already been broken.
Now, come on, Rob. We've heard about his plan to fix property taxes, right?
What is it?
Oh, wait. No, we haven't heard about that.
Or local government.
Right.
And you know,
sorry.
If you were
bad.
You should want somebody in the governor's office. And we have now had, this is the third governor in a row who doesn't actually care about public policy, doesn't actually care about you. The reason things got better under Mitch Daniels, and look, Mitch Daniels did some things, see Lucas Oil Stadium, that I am vehemently against. But as a collective, there's not a single person who I think can say with a straight face, Indiana, financially, fiscally, tax-wise, did not leave, the state was not left in a better position than where Mitch Daniels found it. Doesn't mean I agreed with everything. He did some things that were not good. But in the aggregate, all of it, because he delved into public policy. He leaned into it. He understood and was invested in the things that he was trying to accomplish. And some of the things that he put a lot of effort into, he didn't get done, like local government reform, the Kernan-Shepard stuff, which the legislature just wouldn't act on. We have now had 3 governors in a row where Pence saw himself as a president and was solely using the people of Indiana to try to elevate to the presidency. In a weird way, it worked out. Now, I mean, he's a human pariah now, but he got to ascend to the vice presidency. Holcomb, who was totally just a toady and a manservant to wealthy, powerful corporations, both international and here, and didn't care about you at all. And now we are on governor number 3, who is using you, the taxpayer, you, the people listening right now, to elevate himself to whatever his personal desire is. And that is why things keep getting worse. That is why things are bad in Indianapolis. That is why things are bad across the state of Indiana. That is why you keep getting screwed and the government doesn't get any better, because you don't have people who are invested in you in these positions of leadership.
They are chasing power without purpose. And I got to question if the rest of the country, especially after Pence, would see that and go, you know what, Indiana, just give it a rest for a minute.
Well, right. I mean, we are a dumpster fire. The taxes keep going up. The government keeps getting less efficient. The select people. So here's what's fascinating. Well, we got to get to a break. Let's take a break, and then we're going to talk about, because our buddy Whitmer is coming on Friday, and he's going to talk about what he is finding in terms of the economic development deals that we are cutting and who is benefiting from that. And I think it ties into this discussion we're having right now.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, BOOHER, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with a free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. BOOHER, BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Indianapolis to see the full line of Kubota or visit McAllisterKubota.com.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
As a caregiver, managing your loved one's health can at times be overwhelming. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joyce House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I'll share 3 tips to help you manage your loved one's medical care effectively.
Cardon & Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Tip number 1, keep a list of all medications, dosages, and schedules to ensure your loved one is taking their medication correctly. Second, attend doctor's appointments with your loved one when you're able. And finally, stay organized by keeping forms, notes, and other important documents in one secure place. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joyce House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Thinning hair? This year, grow your hair back like I did. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A trade deal with China. Sunny, 72. We'll get up to 85 today with plenty of sunshine. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:34. President Trump says a trade deal with China is done, subject to final approval from him and Chinese President Xi Jinping.
President Trump seems pleased with the deal that his trade negotiators reached with China last night in London. He posted on Truth Social that our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied upfront by China. Likewise, we, the U.S., will provide to China what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities. He says the U.S. is getting a total of 55% tariffs from China. China is getting 10%. Those are the rates that were previously agreed to, and they've been in place for about a month now.
Fox's Grady Trimble from the White House. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick joined Trade Representative Jameson Greer in the UK to hash out the agreement. California Governor Gavin Newsom is blaming President Trump for escalating anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles as a federal judge schedules a hearing in the governor's lawsuit seeking to block the deployment of Marines and National Guard. But the president says the troops are helping save the city.
Jointly, we've all made over 190 arrests, more coming. If you hit a police officer, you assault a police officer, state or federal, we are coming after you.
Attorney General Pam Bondi on Fox and Friends. Governor Newsom saying in a video posted online recently that democracy is under assault and that other states would also face political retribution from the president. Elon Musk is regretting some of the posts he made involving President Trump. In a post he made to his X platform, Musk issued an apology to Trump following their online feud after Musk became upset about spending in the big, beautiful bill. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
We are absolutely being taken over in this country. A new tweet involving an Indiana representative puts it front and center again. And you people hearing us right now, you better wake up quick because the damage is being done. And if we don't get it together fast, it's going to be too late.
You're talking about the tweet that includes Jefferson Shreve.
So this comes from AmCham.
AmCham India.
Which is the American Chamber of Commerce in India. And I'm just going to read. Now, I believe these are the same or connected people to who Diego met with when he was in India. I don't know if this is the exact organization, but it matches up according to the IndyStar reporting. They don't call it exactly the same thing, but it looks like the same organization. Now, if I'm off on that, I welcome anyone from any of these organizations to come in and clarify and have a conference. Diego Shreve, any of them? Okay. So AmCham India's Door Knock 2025 met with Representative Jefferson Shreve to explore U.S.-India economic cooperation and U.S. companies' impact on India's tech, infra, and agriculture sectors. His vision for sustainable data centers and AI-powered solutions inspired us in these transformative times.
Yeah.
So on Friday, Stephen Whitmer from the Indy Reporter account is going to be with us. He spent the past week digging into trying to figure out exactly what took place in India with Diego Morales and what exactly went on. And I won't spoil it all for you now. But what's starting to become more and more clear is that the country of India is using the state of Indiana and incentives given by our taxpayers to flood the workforce with workers from their country. And Whitmer's going to go into the amount of foreign workers in the state of Indiana, across the country, and in the state of Indiana who have come in from these economic development deals related to the country of India. And we are being replaced, right? How many times have we talked about this? That if you go to your local Walmart and you look at the makeup of your local Walmart today versus 10 years ago, there is a good chance that Walmart looks absolutely nothing
completely different
like it used to look.
Yeah.
And what happens is, and Stephen will go into this on Friday, and I know he's going to use Infosys as a perfect example of what happens. These companies agree to do whatever build whatever company, build whatever thing here. And the politicians come out and the state comes out and the communities come out and go, so-and-so is doing a $400 million investment or a $1 billion investment. And we're hearing it now more and more with these data centers, hundreds of acres, and the price is in the billions of dollars. And then when you start cutting through it, you recognize, and so many jobs and hundreds of jobs and so many workers. But then you start cutting into it and you realize, well, that building is going to be receiving a massive tax abatement.
Mm-hmm.
So it will take years or in some cases decades for it ever to pay its full freight. And of those hundreds and hundreds of workers, many of them, sometimes half or more, are people not only not coming from the state of Indiana, they're coming from a foreign country. We're literally being replaced. You are literally subsidizing the replacement of yourself. That is how your tax money is being used by the politicians to replace you.
Mirror Indy did a big article about this, and it said data centers tax breaks could leave Indiana $2.2 billion short. A proposed Southside Indy data center qualifies for tax exemptions, exactly what you're talking about. And the question is it worth it? Because these project costs are being passed on to the taxpayer.
So the question to Diego now should be, let's just assume it was all on the up and up. Let's just assume that it was some well-meaning business that out of the goodness of their heart, who has no business with his office, gave out of the goodness of their heart. And let's just assume that he did pay all the money back. Let's just assume that it's Raju's contract with the state is all in the up and up. Of course, they won't tell you what that is, but let's just assume that he's totally just working his ass off for you for that to whatever it was, $80,000. Let's just assume it's a coincidence that Raju went to India and was selling Visa access while he was there with Diego. And, there's the financer guy. I think Whitty's going to get into the financer guy.
Sojo's Capital.
Yeah, I can't remember. He's got all that information. Let's just assume that all that is on the up and up, that it's all legitimate. All of it's perfectly fine. Somebody needs to ask Diego Morales, why are you advocating for the outsourcing of the American workforce? I thought you were a Trump guy. I thought you were America first. That needs to start being the question to Diego Morales, is why are you in foreign countries advocating for the outsourcing of the American workforce subsidized by the taxpayers of your state?
Mm-hmm. Another thing about these data centers that they're talking about, they really only create between 8 and 50 jobs, far fewer than a manufacturing facility would.
Right. It's death by 1,000 cuts. You get a few workers in here, you get a few workers in there, you get a big one like Lilly, or you get a big one like Infosys.
The huge property tax exemptions.
Sure. It's a no-lose proposition for these data center people, because in the case of the data centers, I think it's a 50-year you can get up to 50-year abatements on some of this stuff. And it's just like the SMRs, these small modular reactors. Yeah, that now you're going to subsidize as a ratepayer so that the utilities who have a monopoly over you can invest and play Dr. Frankenstein, and even if it fails, you'll still pay for their investment. If it succeeds, you also pay for it, and then they make more money off of you. You are being sold out by your politicians. People like Jefferson Shreve are selling you out. People like Diego are selling you out. You see all of these people who keep meeting with these people from these foreign countries. Whose interest do you think they have? Look at the data. I cannot wait for Friday when Stephen's going to be here to lay the data out on how many foreign workers have flooded into this state since Mike Pence has been the governor. It's absolutely staggering. Jefferson Shreve should be ashamed of himself. I'm more convinced than ever that Jefferson Shreve's run for mayor was simply an opportunity to buy name recognition
so that he could be a rep.
So that he could be a congressman.
Sure.
And then what did he do when he got in there?
Yeah.
He did all the trading stuff.
Right.
What was it? Shreve's probably worth $1 billion when you cobble it all together. And he's still pulling this stuff.
He was already rich before he got in there.
Convinced more than ever now that the Shreve run for mayor was simply about name identification because he has so much money that he would win a congressional seat. Because remember, he said, mayor's all I want to run for. It's all I want to do. I'm not running for anything else. And then he lost, and what did he do? He immediately ran for Congress.
Yeah, we heard that too. Governor Braun, I just want to be senator. Oh, nah. I just want to be governor. I want to come home, help Indiana. Nah. Adam Wren reporting, there's talk he wants to be president. Okay.
Is Hammer back?
I think so.
Is Hammer here? Hammer may be next. We don't know.
We'll check on that. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, we have a deal with China, maybe, kind of. And we've got more riots across the country. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct. That weather outside getting warm, lots of temperatures in the 80s, and I think that's how it's going to be moving forward, which means you want to make sure you stay cool in your home all summer long. That's where Universal Windows Direct comes in with their home improvement season sale. You know, windows, new windows, reliable windows can be a key part of feeling comfortable in your home. And with this home improvement season sale, Universal Windows Direct makes it a great time to make that investment. Right now, you can get payments as low as $99 a month. As low as $99 a month or no payments and no interest for an entire year. Go ahead and schedule that totally free, no hassle, no obligation in-home estimate. Some restrictions may apply, so to get all the details and have Universal Windows Direct come out to your house, call today, 317-659-7574. 317-659-7574. See everything for yourself on the web. UniversalWindowsDirect.com, 317-659-7574. Tell them Rob sent you.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
We set out to be the very best of the best, and past couple years we've actually achieved that. For all of the state of Indiana, we've been awarded the Dealer of the Year award twice now. Unlike other brands, that only gets handed to one dealer every year, and we're very proud to have won that twice.
Put the best to work for you at FamilyHVAC.net. Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
For the first time in 25 years, your Pacers are in the finals.
4 seconds to go. Halliburton for three. Three ball. Indiana by 1 and 1/10 seconds to go.
You have got to be kidding me.
Catch the blue and gold and Thunder for Game 3 Wednesday at 8:30. Score your tickets at Pacers.com/finals. Pacers, Thunder, Game 3 Wednesday. Pacers Finals presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit IndianaUnclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
Join the Home and Garden Show this Saturday when they'll be live 9 to 1 at Sullivan Hardware and Garden at 71st and Keystone for the 9th annual Slaw Fest. Tickets are just $25. It's a full day of family fun, live music, local drinks, and over 30 slaw dishes.
Hey, he's back!
Hey-oh!
Look at him. Hammer from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel program joining us. We missed you.
Man, it's been a bit since I've been back. Feels like a ton of things have gone on. But listen, Rob knows where we're going with this. One of the least favorite things that you like to do is to mention how right you are, right? And that's a bit you do.
Yep.
Like, I want to make sure I give you full credit because we both know what it's like to be stolen from. So that's a little, that's a bit from you, but I'm going to challenge it here.
Perfect.
Because I heard you guys talking about Hogset earlier.
Yeah.
It cracks me up right now how all of a sudden local media in this city says, wait a minute.
What?
There may be a character in this mayor's office, maybe multiple characters that are worth investigating. Like, I like to think of myself as the man at the forefront of this. Rob, you were right there too. But
Rob, you were there.
You were there. As a resident of Marion County, as a resident of Indianapolis, I have been telling you guys for a long time, this dude is a dumpster fire. Not just because of his politics. He's a trash human being.
I'll drink to that.
There's a reason why the dude's wife ran out on him. There's a reason why he gets black eyes and falls down. There's a reason why he's full of crap and there's a major scandal going on. And all of a sudden, the local TV stations in the city, all of them, I'm not saving anybody, all of them, wait a minute, hold on. You're telling me there may be a scumbag and horrific things happening in the mayor's office? Yes, that's what we're telling you. I was right from the beginning. Rob, how many times have you been right on various things? Casey, how many times have you been right? You guys put yourself out there. Sometimes it's not easy. Like the Atterbury stuff. I was right about that. I put myself out there. Took a lot of shrapnel, took a lot of bullets, never got many apologies when I was proved right.
You know, it's funny because you were as passionate about Hogset as I was about Holcomb. And we have the same thing with a different guy. And how many times did it get revealed or get proven that we were spot on about who these people are and what they do? But we were it, right? We're like the lone voice in the wilderness, and the rest of the media in the city is just like, well, it's fine. No big deal.
And go ahead, I'm sorry.
Does it surprise you now that they're finally asking questions? I mean, since day one, since I've been here, it's why hasn't the media asked him any of these tough questions? And now they're starting to trickle out.
Because it feels coordinated right now. It feels coordinated. There's a theory, and I don't know how much I buy this, but there's a theory that a lot of the Democrats on the council want Joe to resign so they can have an incumbent on the ticket for when they have the election for the mayor coming up in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's basically how Ryan Mears got his gig, right? The previous prosecutor passed away, Terry Curry. So here comes Ryan Mears. He gets installed, gets put in, and wins as an incumbent. So there's a theory. Some folks have said that the Democrats on the council really want him to resign. That's why they're leading the forefront on this. There's one Republican, just one, that said, yeah, this guy's a scumbag and probably needs to step down.
Well, and think about that. And that was Josh Bain, who was on our show yesterday, who's come out and called for his resignation. But think about how long that took. I mean, it's like, if you're Mowry, if you're Michael Paul Hart, like, what is your standard to say the guy's got to go? But it comes back to the money controls a lot of the same people on both sides of the aisle.
Right. And I don't want to hear any more, we need more oversight. No, you've got all the oversight you need. You've got now 5 women who have pretty good pieces of evidence that say this took place. This isn't some sort of Trevor Bauer, Duke LaCrosse thing where, believe all women. No, don't do that, because some of these chicks may be full of crap. These women have text. They have emails. They've confronted Joe. There's audio. There's video. I don't know what more you need.
And it comes back to, it's not whether Hogset or Cook or whoever was stepping out on their spouse or whatever. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is you used your position as an elected, or in the case of Cook, an appointed official, to leverage women to do things that you wanted, or in the case of Hogset, at least we know there's totally inappropriate messaging and not holding Cook accountable. That's why it's an issue, because as a taxpayer, you both live here. I don't live here, but I work here. You guys are paying for that.
Yes. And when hell breaks loose, like in the riots of 2020,
who was leading the city? That's an important thing to ask, because all of a sudden, Democrats nationally are having this come to Jesus moment. Maybe Joe Biden was unfit to lead. We've been telling you that about Joe Hogsett, not because he's got dementia, but because he's a rumored alcoholic and sometimes has been rumored to be incapacitated. We've been saying that. Rob, how many news reporters, directors, anchors of various TV stations in the city have we reached out to and said, why are you not covering this? Here's the information. We've got it, blah, blah. And it was deaf ears for 4 years. Deaf ears.
Yeah, and you look at the damage this guy, and this is what Casey and I talked about earlier, his inability to get his personal, you-know-what, in order has caused immense damage to the city of Indianapolis. You look at what a dumpster fire this city is.
And Thomas Carl Cook, too, his right-hand man. Don't let him off the hook, because, yes, Joe is a trash human being, but so was Thomas Carl Cook, and we all knew it, and the timeline doesn't add up. Why did you bring him back?
Well, and he was sending those texts to that subordinate of his. Hello, talk to me. Are you there? After the summer of love. Where was that tenacity and that urgency while the riots were happening?
And I'm excited for this afternoon because thanks to the magic of AI, we're going to begin an all-new segment this afternoon, Poetry Moments with Joe Hogsett. Really looking forward to having old boss Hogsett.
We had a banger on earlier, so yeah, it's great. They write themselves almost.
They do. There's only so many words you can rhyme with Nantucket, but we're going to find out this afternoon.
Before you leave and tell us what's coming up, also this afternoon, we've got one thing for you.
Oh, okay.
I ain't running for nothing. I'm running from things, but I ain't running for nothing.
Somewhere there's a news director at a TV station. My God, all of a sudden the light bulb goes off above their head. We need to investigate this guy.
What's coming up this afternoon?
Rick Snyder, FOP president, will join us. Rumored riots in Indy this weekend. We'll talk to him about that. Tony Kennett will join us. And Poetry Moments with AI Joe Hogsett.
Glad you're back. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1 day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Is your well water pressure low? Tasting a little off? A neglected well can lead to costly repairs, but C&J, the official water treatment sponsors of the Pacers and Fever, has you covered with their well cleanout service and 6-point inspection. It's the lowest price of the year, and C&J will even throw in a free well cap to keep out the critters and crud from messing up your well. Your family deserves the purest, safest water straight from your own well. Schedule your well cleanout with C&J. Great systems and great people, too. 317-852-WELL.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Father's Day is Sunday, and if you haven't found a gift yet, don't panic. Just come to Macy's Father's Day sale for gifts that'll make Dad say, this is perfect. Shop designer polos from Lacoste and Tommy Hilfiger, 30 to 50% off. Watches from Citizen and Bulova, 30% off. Fragrance gift sets, boxed and ready to give. Even a 36-piece Cuisinart grill set, now half off. Hurry in! Father's Day is this Sunday, and this sale is happening now at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Weekday mornings at 7:15, the Tony Katz Popcorn Moment, brought to you by Boer Remodeling. Don't wait any longer for the kitchen you've been dreaming of. Request a consultation at boerremodeling.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, what the mayor has to say about some recent incidents, how the State Department of Health is reporting on infant mortality, what program the state is looking into cutting some funding from, and the city is in gold-out mode ahead of tonight's NBA Finals Game 3 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Great numbers. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's President Trump's reaction on Truth Social to the inflation update this morning, showing just a 0.1% increase in the consumer price index last month from April. And while the annual rate of inflation ticked up 1/10 point, it was less than expected.
It totally puts to rest those types of concerns because there's no evidence that inflation is anything but anything of a concern right now.
White House Council of Economic Advisor Chairman Steve Myron also just told Fox.
The president has delivered lower than expected inflation every single month since he took office.
Now, the president also posted another call for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates by a full percent. Another Trump post declares a deal with China done after another round of trade talks with that country.
He says the U.S. is getting a total of 55% tariffs from China. China is getting 10%. Those are the rates that were previously agreed to, and they've been in place for about a month now.
That's Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble. Will the protests ramp up for a sixth day in Los Angeles? It was a quiet downtown overnight after a curfew was imposed by Mayor Karen Bass.
To stop the vandalism, to stop the looting.
The demonstrations over illegal immigration raids also include clashes with law enforcement, and someone here in the U.S. illegally has been arrested. Assistant Homeland Security Secretary Trish McLaughlin tells Fox.
He's being charged with attempted murder, throwing Molotov cocktails at our law enforcement officers, at our ICE enforcement officers. But this is not his first run-in with the law. Just last year, he was charged with a DUI as well as grand larceny.
Some Marines President Trump is deploying will arrive in L.A. today, joining National Guard troops, angering California Governor Gavin Newsom.
Trump and Newsom have been fighting over social media through speeches in the courtroom. The president says local officials, including Newsom and L.A. Mayor Karen Bass, have failed to prevent rioters from destroying property. Democrats and Newsom contend the president's guard deployment has only provoked the crowd.
That's Fox's Rich Edson at the White House. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Addressing the talk of the town. Sunny, 74 on Monument Circle, will reach 85 this afternoon. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A survivor confronting Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett during a Tuesday lunch. Maggie Adams McBride is a former employee of Hogsett's, having worked as a project manager in his office.
I was having lunch, and so she came up, and we did have a conversation. It's unfortunate that she's left the office because I thought she was a wonderful employee.
Hogsett speaking to Wish TV about that conversation he had with Adams McBride, one of several people who accused his former aide, Thomas Cook, of sexual harassment. Hogsett says he will not resign. At least 3 local lawmakers are calling on him to do so. More Hoosier babies are making it to their first birthday. That's according to the new Indiana Department of Health report on infant mortality. Eden Bezzi, an assistant commissioner with the department, says that's because they're helping fight some of the causes of early deaths.
We know that babies born in Indiana are oftentimes born too small and too early. And so we want to make sure that moms are as healthy as possible before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and between pregnancies.
She says the improvement is significant this year, the best outcomes for babies since the year 1900. Another budget cut to the state of Indiana, Johnette Cruz explains.
The state of Indiana is making significant changes to its On My Way pre-K voucher program for the upcoming school year. State officials announced that enrollment will be capped at 2,500 students, a substantial decrease from more than the 6,000 enrolled last year. Eligibility requirements are also being tightened. Families must now have a household income at or below below 140% of the federal poverty level to qualify. The voucher will also cover a maximum of $6,800 per year. The state says these changes are intended to focus the program on families most in need. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Fever will look to bounce back from last night's 77-58 loss to the Atlanta Dream as they return home this weekend for a matchup with the New York Liberty on Saturday. It's time for the third installment of this year's NBA Finals. The Pacers will be hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis tonight. Head coach Rick Carlisle on the team's mindset.
Everything that's already happened doesn't matter other than the score of the series. And so we're going to move forward. There's a lot of things we have to do better. We realize that.
The series is tied 1 game apiece. It's the first NBA Finals gold out in 25 years. Tip-off tonight is at 8:30 Eastern. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
Have you ever checked your Social Security statement to see how much money you'll get in retirement? Guess what? This number could be a lot less or a lot more than the number on your statement. It's Hammer and Nigel, and you could discover how you could get every penny that's rightfully yours with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy. We trust Bill, and you can too.
So if you have saved more than $200,000 but have not yet filed for Social Security, schedule that free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery. 317-648-5120. This free analysis takes the guesswork out of filing for your benefits, and most importantly, it could help you get every penny that's rightfully yours. Free analysis. Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
So nobody in this state wants to lead on property taxes, but the governor of Florida, he's here for all of it,
Yeah.
Casey.
He said, I've got the numbers. He's got them. He wants Florida to take over funding some of the government services, this in rural parts of Florida.
Okay, so we got into this yesterday about how just an abomination that Senate Bill 1 is. Every person who voted for it should be completely ashamed of themselves because not only is it not going to solve the property tax issue, it's going to end up resulting in property tax increases for most people, as well as the income tax increases that are going to come with it. When you have a convoluted system that doesn't work for anyone and is layered with special carve-outs, etc., you've either got to keep the system as is or scrap it. You can't fix it. It's unfixable. And what they tried to do in 368 pages, if you buy into the fact that they actually want to help, which I don't, but let's just operate that you believe they want to help and fix the system, is they tried to fix an unfixable system. And what you are seeing, and we laid this out yesterday, is how in the best case, like where I live in Brownsburg, the school system has said, well, we're probably not going to go for a referendum for the foreseeable future, but we're going to get our money, and here's how we're going to do it. And they hire these fancy accounting firms. Now, you can be mad about that, and you should, but compared to some of these other people we're about to talk about, they're the good guys in the equation. Because at least they said, you'll still stay under the 1% inflated cap. You'll still are at the 1% inflated cap. But there's no reform taking place. The schools are not doing more with less. At no point did they say, oh, my gosh, we've got to cut. We've heard the voters, right? We've heard the people speak. Here's what we're going to do. They're talking about, and they kept using this phrase, the same amount of dollars. That's what and that's by design. Clearly, the guy meant to use that phrase. It's not a phrase you would just rolls off the tip of the tongue. That's going to be the selling point for these school districts across the state who don't do the referendums is we're just asking for the same amount of dollars. And Case, raise your hand if during the Senate Bill 1 discussion you said, you've left too many loopholes for the schools to exploit, and they actually don't care, and they're going to get their money. Raise your hand if you said that. Okay, very good. Raising our hands here. By the way, I did see a photo from the Mooresville School Corporation.
Lights are still on?
Lights are still on. They had their graduation in a gymnasium.
Good.
There were lights. It was lit. So
we were told that they were going to have to turn the lights off.
Well, that pathological liar is a strong word, but that would make that Mooresville superintendent a pathological liar because he very clearly said, we played the clip that he said, I'm going to shut the lights out.
Correct.
If this bill passes.
Yeah.
And the lights appear to be still on. But the other side of this is school districts, like we played yesterday in Avon, are clearly they're not even going to wait. They're going to sprint to get a referendum on the ballot this fall. We've seen Fort Wayne do the same. There's a chance others may follow. And they're going to make sure you stay above the 1% cap, which if they'd have just left it alone, they might have gone back and fallen under some of these referendums would have expired. The point is nobody wants to help you. Braun does not want to help you. The General Assembly does not want to help you. They could have fixed this issue. Heck, I laid it out in 4 minutes. Maybe we should play that when we come back for the next segment.
The 4-point plan.
I pulled that out of my backside. I awoke from a fever dream, Casey.
That's right.
And it came up with how to fix it in 4 minutes or less. They didn't fix it because they don't want it fixed. And what is becoming abundantly clear is that the property tax bill was a money grab for local governments because the schools are still going to get theirs. The local governments now are going to be raising your income taxes in many cases, and you're going to pay a lot more for a system that will remain brutally broken.
Well, that's just it. They don't want to fix it. They just want the ability to pass the buck and say, well, this isn't on us. This is your local government.
But Ron DeSantis, and I want you to compare how Ron DeSantis, who appears dead set on getting a solution to this, was talking about fixing property taxes in Florida, and then compare that to the mealy-mouthed, weak, half-assed effort we got from Mike Braun here in Indiana.
I run the numbers, and if you took the fiscally constrained counties, I think are like 30-some counties, is that the number? 31 counties. And if you said tomorrow there would be no tax on anybody's homesteaded property, personal residence, the amount of money that we would need in Florida to backfill all that revenue for those fiscally constrained counties is about $300 million a year. And I'm just telling you, that is budget dust. Like, that's easy for us to do. And I'm not suggesting that, like, we have to just do that, but I'd be willing. Of course, we're going to help with that. We want homeowners to be able to afford to stay in their home. And if that means that we take this gigantic surplus that we've accumulated and help rural counties and fiscally constrained counties, I'd much rather do that and be able to get the property tax relief done than try to say, oh, well, we can't do property tax relief because the rurals aren't going to be able to raise revenue. We have revenue.
So the estimated cost to the state, $300 million per year. DeSantis, you just heard him, he called it budget dust, compared to their $50 billion general fund.
Yeah, and I hate that Ron DeSantis has such an annoying voice. If he could speak like Benjamin Netanyahu, he'd be the president right now. The voice really, really does him a disservice. But he's right. He's absolutely right. And you think about in this state, how much money do we give to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation? How much money do we give away for what is now being proven is just basically an operation that is allowing mega corporations, both of this country and foreign, to come in and replace you with foreign workers. That's what we're starting to put together. We give hundreds of millions of dollars to this shadow government entity, which is so broken the governor had to order a forensic audit. Who knows what they'll find with that? And yet we don't have any money to help you with property taxes. The best we could come up with is a 368-page bill that 10% maybe, which would be 15 people in the General Assembly read, according to Carrie Hamilton, state representative, who said that on our show. The average state rep, I said this yesterday, what we ought to do is every state rep, all the ones who voted for it, so basically all of them in the House but Manning, Ireland, and Haggard, and then whatever. It was pretty, they got close in the Senate. What, it was like 20? They got 20 no's. But any of these reps who voted for this should have to sit down with Chris Hansen in a To Catch a Predator style interview, and the way we get him to come to the House is the decoy. It's not a little kid. It's a lobbyist who has a donation.
Sure,
They'll come over there right away.
Right.
Here's that. Yeah.
They'll run over.
Hansen comes out, says, have a seat. He asks them questions about Senate Bill 1. Let's see how many they can actually answer. Then the guys with the cameras come out. It'll be perfect. That's exactly what we should do to these people.
So Ron DeSantis is aiming to provide a one-time rebate for Floridians, but also long-term property tax relief because he's been very critical of the current system. Here's a guy who gets it. He said seniors are paying taxes on homes that they've already paid off. He calls it unfair. It would require a constitutional amendment for them to get permanent relief.
I had a conversation with a school person the other day, and I will not name this person for fear of this because this is a very decent individual, and this person would be absolutely run out of their prominent position in a thriving school district, and I will not name this person. But they understand this bill pretty well, and we were having sort of an honest back and forth about the bill. And this person said, and it's absolutely true, there's a bunch of stuff in there because of and it comes back to the system. Like, I could be here for a week and you wouldn't understand what I'm about to tell you. It's how convoluted the system is. I barely understand it. And I would say I understand property taxes better than 99.9% of the population. But there's one of the major problems with this bill is there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that because of the way it messes with formulas, it doesn't actually give you property tax relief. It's not something like the $300 credit where that money goes back in your pocket. But because it's all these convoluted formulas that you got to be a rocket scientist to understand that they've messed with because they trust one guy, the smartest guy in the state house who sounded like a Chinese man on LSD, Jeff Thompson, and they just did whatever he wanted. And there's no way Braun understands this either, by the way. If you actually sat down and grilled Braun on it, which is why they did not want me at that meeting at the governor's mansion, because they do not want somebody who can force him to explain it. They want him to be able to, lying, such a strong word, play fast and loose with vagaries of the truth. How about that? That he couldn't explain it either. But this person told me, they said they messed with so many things that don't provide property tax relief to people, but they mess with the formula that limits the amount of dollars and how the dollars flow and how we can move money, that it's going to end up raising people's property taxes. Now, I know that sounds insane, but that's how insane the system actually is, that they did things that didn't actually put money back in your pocket, but limited how that changed how money could be accessed and how money was handed out. Like, it's too broken. You'll never fix it. You have to scrap it. You have to stop it. You have to get rid of it and replace it with something else. Wasn't that the saying, repeal and replace?
It was cut, cap, reform.
No. Wasn't Obamacare? Wasn't it repeal and replace? And then we neither repealed nor replaced?
Right.
Yeah. And that's what we did with property taxes. They made it worse. And Ron DeSantis is saying right there, if you want to fix it, if you have somebody who actually wants to lead your state and lead on property taxes, you could have. But we don't hear about this from anyone now. Just exactly what we said. They're done with it. They've checked it off the page. It's over. It's done with.
We were told they were going to come back next session.
Yeah, with what?
And fix it.
With
and
what?
Reform.
With what?
Well, that we don't know. That's a secret.
We got to go to break before I get mad.
Okay.
You know I get one.
Let's do that because we're going to talk about basketball next, okay?
Oh, how exciting.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
In Oklahoma City, game 2. Oklahoma City still leads by 17 points.
I just got to figure out how to be better.
The Pacers are down by 19.
I don't think we had a single point in the paint in the first quarter.
The Pacers are down by 21 points.
We just played poorly. You can't be a team that's reactive.
The lead is back up to 22.
They never really were close.
The NBA Finals return home to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Pacers Thunder. Coverage of Game 3 starts Wednesday night at 8 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey guys, Life Church wants to remind you Father's Day is Sunday. And Life Church honors fathers. You know, there are so many fathers who are working hard and leading their families closer to Jesus. Life Church says, well done. And this Sunday at their 4 campuses across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, Life Church is going to be honoring dads. Fathers can be underappreciated. Honor your father or father figure. You don't have to wait till Sunday, all this week. To dads, Life Church says thanks. Learn more about them on the web, lifechurchin.com.
You probably have a dream retirement in mind, but do you know how to get there? The difference between dreaming and living your ideal retirement comes down to having the right plan. And that's where Howard Bailey Financial can help. At Howard Bailey Financial, we've created a free retirement toolkit to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Text DREAM to 888-262-1104 to download your free retirement toolkit that includes a retirement checklist, Social Security decisions guide, estate planning guide, and more. We want your dream retirement to be your reality. And it starts by texting DREAM to 888-262-1104. Let us help you take the next step toward the retirement of your dreams. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Neighborhoods are popping up everywhere, but if you want something different than what you're currently seeing, Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield, can build you a unique, custom home on your own private lot or anywhere you can bring your own builder. They've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana. Visit Joyner Homes Model Homes or go to joynerhomes.com to see floor plans and pricing and more. With Joyner Homes, you can even start from scratch if you want. Check out their 5-star Google reviews and visit joynerhomes.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of their best stamped concrete patio through June 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
Okay, so we are seeing why nothing ever changes in this country, and it is because the Republicans, they cannot be trusted, and they never do what they promise. And like, you can say whatever you want about the Democrats. You know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be mad at them for doing what they've always done. It's no different than the property tax conversation we just had. I don't blame the schools at all because I know what they are, right? Like, I know they're going to try to get as much money as they can possibly suck out of whatever system is there.
And they don't hide it.
No. Now, places like Avon do, where they have the little superintendent announcement, but they don't put it out so the public can see it, unless, of course, we get it. Gutless cowards like Avon that are going to do these referendums, but they don't want you to know about it because you might show up and vote against it. But places like Brownsburg, yes, they're very transparent about what they're doing, and they deserve credit for that. But what's going on? So you can't I blame the lawmakers for what's going on with property taxes because they know. If you tell a person who is addicted to crack cocaine, the crack's over there, they're going to go get the crack. You can't, you have to stop it. You have to eliminate the drug from the people. And it is no different than with the Republicans when it comes to the spending. I don't blame the Democrats. I know what they are. You elect Republicans because they tell you they're going to be different, and every time they do the same stuff. And then it's supposed to be people that are, not just Republicans, but on our side. What has happened to Josh Hawley? I have no idea what's going on with him.
He's introduced a bill to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. The bill's called Higher Wages for American Workers Act, and the increases would begin in 2026 and continue into future years tied to inflation. There's a co-sponsor of the bill who is a Democrat. They're saying the bill is bipartisan.
So we have a Republican who is now putting forth a bill, not to get spending under control, not to balance the budget, not to stop inflation. And by the way, Hawley's one of the guys, too, who is the major holdup on the Medicaid reforms in the big bull crap bill. He's one of these people saying you can't do anything with Medicaid, and people are like, dude, there's billions in waste and fraud in it. Now we got to find it somewhere else.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Well, he's saying the bill is a broader pro-worker framework. It does break the traditional orthodoxy, that's for sure, which opposes wage hikes. So the federal minimum wage right now is $7.25 an hour. Hasn't changed since 2009. And
why is there a minimum wage period? If I want to do a job for $4 an hour, what business is it of the government to tell me I can't do? If I value my time at $4 an hour, who cares?
They're telling you, no, sorry, you must be paid more. Hallie says that the stagnant wage is a major reason for flat wages among workers.
Yeah. What? So he thinks inflation's going to get better if you force somebody for a job that is worth $10 an hour to have to pay them $15. This is a Republican.
Correct.
This is a Republican saying this. This is why I've given up. Like, you can't. I mean, it's never going to change. These are people that are supposed to be on our team. And this guy who was not all that long ago, he was Mr. Fist Pump on January 6th. Now his whole deal is more Medicaid and $15 an hour. If you want to work for $12 or $7 or $8 or $2, why are you not able to gauge what your time is worth? I've never understood this, and no one can ever explain this to me rationally, why you are not capable of deciding what your time is worth.
Speaking of teamwork, of course, you've got Game 3 tonight. First time in 20 years.
That's right. The protesters are coming.
Well, that's what they say. We'll see. Hopefully they don't. But IMPD says they're going to increase patrols, both visibly and behind the scenes throughout the city.
Where's Hogsett saying this? I ain't running from nothing.
He was out at a restaurant in Mass Ave yesterday. By the way, when all this was swirling around him, he decided this is a good time to go out
Where's
to lunch.
Braun saying this? Why is Braun not talking about how the state police? Why is Braun screwing around with, was it Jim Baird and was it Kennedy and?
Yeah, and Secretary Rollins.
Why isn't he focused here
what's going on in
what's
the state?
going on in the capital city? It's not like we haven't been through this before. It's not like it's some idle threat. Now, I get that Senator Braun was having a good time in Washington, D.C. when a lot of this stuff was going on.
Yeah.
Unless he was back here in some sort of summer recess. Maybe he was. I don't know. But I bet he wasn't in Indianapolis. I bet he wasn't hanging out downtown. I bet he didn't have to see the boarded up windows, the glass in the streets, the stuff on fire. I've been through it. I've seen it. I was here. It wasn't fun, and the threat is very real. So maybe if you could stop pretend running for president, which you have no chance of winning, and you could get your ass back here, and you could talk about how tonight and over the weekend that you are going to secure the city, because we know Hogsett ain't going to do anything. So maybe you could talk about what you're going to do.
So Indiana State Police, they say they're going to focus on traffic, safety, and enforcement.
Over the next several days, thousands of basketball fans will be in the Circle City hoping to get a piece of the excitement that comes with having the NBA Finals back for the first time in 25 years.
We've adjusted our staffing to increase our footprint, both in patrol cars, on foot, and in places that you will not see.
IMPD Chief Chris Bailey speaking at a press conference Tuesday.
Neighborhoods will be protected. No one in our city will go without police protection.
NBA Finals Game 3 on Wednesday night. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC, Mobile News.
It's interesting you asked about Hogsett or even Braun, because the public safety press conference included people from Pacer Sports and Entertainment, IMPD, Indianapolis Fire Department, Indiana State Police, the Marion County Emergency Services Agency, and Indianapolis EMS.
Okay, but the problem with
Not the mayor's office.
Well, but the problem with what the chief of police said is, I don't believe you. Not because I think you're a liar, but Hogsett has proven, or his subordinates have proven, because we don't know where he was, he will let the city burn. He will tell you to not do your job, so the city will burn. So if the city police are incapable via orders, which they were doing a fine job in 2020 until they were told to let these lunatics go. Pardon me for not having confidence this time when you say nobody will go without police protection. It's already a super dangerous city, and I hope nothing happens. I hope this thing tonight is it's 5 weirdos holding up signs. I hope the thing over the weekend is some idle threat. I really do. Mm-hmm. But we have proven in this city, the mayor has proven he is not serious about securing the city, and he is not serious about allowing you, the IMPD, to secure the city, that he's on the side of the lunatics. I mean, we're just one Malik Muhammad meet and greet away from it happening all over again. And so the governor, fully knowing what he's dealing with Drinky McDrinkerson on the other side of the city from him, should be out here talking about how the role state police, potentially even the National Guard, is going to have if necessary. But he's playing grab ass with Jim Baird and these Trump officials because Braun is more interested in some fantasy
national profile
run for president than doing his job.
It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
911, what's your emergency?
Por favor, necesito ayuda. Está volando y creo que me va a pegar otra vez.
I will get someone to speak with you. Please stay on the line.
Hola, tengo su ubicación. Ayuda está en camino.
Getting past a language barrier is critical when first responders help Hoosiers. That's why the State 911 Board provides special tools for non-English speaking citizens to communicate with emergency services.
Si estás en peligro, aunque no hables inglés, podrás recibir ayuda en una emergencia rápidamente.
All Indiana 911 centers began offering translation services in over 240 languages in 2019. Now, people can send text messages for help in their native language to 911 and receive a translated text back from the dispatcher. It's of great help to the deaf and speech impaired and to those in select dangerous situations.
Cuando llame o envíe un texto al 911, un servicio de traducción se asegurará que entiendan lo que está diciendo.
For more information, visit in911.net.
Gracias.
911. Before you text, voice is best.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state back and forth dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then, 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Confronting the mayor. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett reiterating that he will not resign after calls came in from at least 3 state leaders for him to do so. This after multiple people have called him out for the handling of sexual harassment claims in his office.
And we've got 2.5 years left in this term, and we have a lot to accomplish.
Hogsett sat down with Wish TV this week. He was seen eating lunch downtown Tuesday after dismissing himself from a press conference that day, and was then confronted by a woman who says she was sexually assaulted by a former top aide of his. years. A nurse is credited with saving a 10-year-old girl who was unresponsive for a few minutes in a western Indiana lake. The State Fair is out with more performers at this year's Hoosier Lottery Free Stage, and the Pacers are getting ready to host their first NBA Finals game in 25 years. Tonight's Game 3 with the Thunder tips off at 8:30 Eastern Time from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
That's okay, Nathan. It's the greatest intro in all of music you can find. You can just do it twice. It's no problem. Just let it go for a second. Play it louder than that. Jeez, it's like having Kevin over there.
At night we ride the mansions of glory and suicide machines sprung from cages.
All right, we got to do a radio show. It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Hey,
I'm air drumming.
We found the clip. We found the clip.
Yeah, your 4-point plan?
Yes. So those of you may remember during the, we thought it was a property tax debate. It really was a fait accompli. In which there was never any moment
there was
where
no debate.
Ron was going to try to help you with property taxes, and the whole plan was to screw you over. But there was a moment where we thought I'd woken from a dream, and this happens to me quite a bit, where I don't really sleep through the night. I will usually wake up 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night, and the a mind this fertile, it really just never stops moving, and I think that's a big part of it. And I awoke from one of my many, we just call them naps at my house, and I had this plan. I said, here's how we could eliminate property tax. Here's how we could solve the property tax plan. I'll just do all the work for these guys, because maybe they're just, at the time I was thinking in an altruistic way, maybe they're just not mentally capable of understanding it.
I believe you even wrote this up and gave it to the governor.
Yes, I had all the stuff. I had a Doge plan for the governor.
That's right.
I was it was all ignored in the order in which it was
working
received.
for free. Well, like you said, it wasn't a property tax debate. It was a property tax pass the buck.
Yeah, and remember my deal with the governor on Doge was I would find $2.5 billion in savings, and the only,
turns out he had to find $2.5 billion.
Well, he didn't find $2.5 billion.
He found $1 billion.
He found one in a week, which proved. Think about how fast I'd have found it, and then he raised taxes by $1 billion. But I said the deal is this is all got to go back to the taxpayers. I'm not doing this to go to some other government program. And I had a budget and everything. It was just going to be a couple $1 million, as I recall, and we would have found $2.5 billion. And he didn't want any of that. But anyway, we did have, in light of Ron DeSantis actually having a ballular area and leading the fight to try to help his state get out of property taxes and let people actually own their home. We said we should play what my plan was and see if my plan sounds better than this convoluted mess. I don't think we've played it since the debate, discussion, whatever ended.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
So why don't we
see if it stands the test of time?
Why don't we revisit and see if it sounds better than what you're currently facing?
Yeah.
How about that?
Hey, it's Rob Kendall, and if you'll give me the next 4 minutes, I've got a 4-step plan to solve this property tax crisis. I'm doing it in 4 minutes because 4 is about the average IQ of a member of the Indiana General Assembly.
Maybe that made them mad.
I came up with this plan in about 10 minutes, and I'm charging you $0. These men and women of the General Assembly take $70,000 a year or more of your hard-earned money and are offering you nothing.
That probably made
With
them mad
that,
too.
Let's get going.
Should not have said those
Step
things.
1. Freeze assessments of all homes built before 2022 that were eligible for a homestead credit for the next 3 years. This does 2 things. 1, it provides you certainty of what your property tax bill will be. No more annual skyrocketing increases. And 2, it eliminates the argument from the poor singing orphans of local government that they're losing money. No cuts. They know what their budget is. Plus, they continue to get assessment increases on commercial, rentals, and post-21 construction. Step 2, legislation that all property tax laws and the taxes that come with them will expire in 3 years. In 3 years, property taxes will no longer exist. That gives the General Assembly 3 years to figure out a new system. And they have every incentive to get on it because the clock starts now. And if they're too lazy or too incompetent to come up with a new system, local governments are out of luck and money. Tick-tock. Step 3. The governor, House, and Senate will form a select committee to study the property tax system, and deliver a report to the governor by start of session next year with recommendations on how to replace the property tax system. That would give them 2 years from the date of completion to debate and act on recommendations to replace the property tax system. Step 4. You didn't think you'd get through this without any savings from the taxpayers, right? Here's where you get your money back. Indiana is set to increase its budget by more than $2.5 billion this year. $2.5 billion. I'm certain in what will be a now nearly $47 billion budget, someone could easily find $2 billion, or 4%, in non-essential expenses.
No, they didn't do that.
Call it Doge if you want. Call it bananas. But whatever its name, that $2 billion will be returned to the taxpayers in the form of a refund. There were 4.3 million taxpayers that got the 2023 refund. So if we use that number, $2 billion, divided by 4.3 million, that comes out to about $465 a taxpayer. So let's review. With this plan, you get money back. Your property taxes stop going up.
Yeah.
No cuts to local government. And in 3 years, we're out of property taxes. You know, sometimes I even impress myself. And all of this in 4 minutes at zero cost to you. I'm Rob Kendall, and we just solved the property tax crisis.
Okay, so that held up perfect other than the budget, but I still would have found, at a $44 billion budget, I still would have found the $2.5 billion. That's not an issue. We still would have been able to do that. Right. So you would have ended up getting more back on my plan than what Braun gave you.
Yeah.
The schools would have been better off.
No referendums.
Yep. And then in 3 years, we're out of property taxes.
Correct.
So still
holds up.
Way better, and we're out of property tax. You get more money back. Schools get more money. Like, this is pathetic that a radio guy in a fever dream can come up with a better plan than 368 pages from the Indiana General Assembly.
Yeah, just imagine what would happen if you got really deep REM sleep.
Maybe I should run for governor.
What?
Nah, I'm not doing that.
Are we going to announce an exploratory committee right now?
No. See,
if Braun can run for president,
it's true.
You can run
That's
for
a good
governor.
Point. Now, see, this is the moment, though, Casey. I hear something like that, and I get all fired up because I amaze myself at the keen level of intellect.
Stood up?
Well, and then I say things out loud. I'm thinking them in my mind, and I don't actually mean them. And then I'll get home today, and I'll think, I don't want to do that.
And then you'll realize, no way. Well, I mean, we were told time and time again, though, it wasn't the governor. It's the legislature.
But it is the governor. The governor is the bully pulpit. Can he make people do things? No. But can he drive an agenda? Can he force the hands of people? Can he make it painful if people are going to screw the taxpayers?
I don't know. Some things are mostly symbolic. That's what he told us. Abdul's going to join us next.
Yes, we'll get into Abdul has the way, the legal mechanism.
Want to hear it.
On how Hogsett can be removed from public office.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, more fallout from that wild city county council meeting. And Joe Hogsett says he is not resigned. Act 2. It's at 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
Attention, Genetics, by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
This summer, your hair deserves to shine as bright as the sun. Hey, y'all, it's Mindy Winkler from 97.1 Hank FM. We Grow Hair Indy wants to help keep your hair as strong and healthy as ever. UV rays, chlorine, salt water, and heat styling for frizz control can seriously hurt your hair at the root. So let's refresh it at We Grow Hair Indy. I love going out on our pontoon, swimming in our chlorinated pool, but I used to be really bad at not wearing a hat or rinsing my hair with fresh water soon after, all of which were impacting my hair and scalp. I can't even tell you how many times I used to burn my scalp when on vacation, which luckily didn't completely damage my follicles. Plus, my hair frizzes so easily, I have to make sure to apply a heating protecting product before I use my flat iron. Treatments like laser hair therapy and PRP can help restore your sun-damaged hair. So let's make this your best hair season yet. Set up your free consultation with We Grow Hair Indy at 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. Or visit their website, wegrowhairindy.com.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-890-5075. 800-890-5075. 800-890-5075. That's 800-890-5075. Paid for by Term Direct.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today. Today.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Our show Expedition Retirement now has a new name. Join us for Fire Your Financial Advisor, Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
Think of it as WIBC on 2x speed. Big opinions, great moments, and just enough chaos. The WIBC Mashup Podcast brings it all together in one fast, fun listen. New episode each weekday. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
I was raised on the radio. Raised on the radio. Just an all-American boy.
So can Hogsett be removed from office? Our next guest says yes, and he's done the research. It is Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Look who it is. He's an attorney at law. He's a broadcaster. He's a provocateur.
And all I wanted to say was just relax in my backyard, have a cigar, a couple pieces of chocolate, just relax and do nothing. Watch my dogs run around.
You've been saying this for years. You literally make money off political drama. If that stopped, you have to stop with all I wanted to do was have fun. You live to dish dirt on people. Abdul Keep Shabazz, hello.
Well, my job is to find out things that most people don't want anybody else to know, so this is good.
Okay, so you actually wrote an article last year when this stuff about Thomas Carl Cook first started coming out, and people were obviously saying, what did the mayor know? When did the mayor know? Did he cover it up? Blah, blah, blah. And you actually wrote a column on how the mayor could be removed from office, which seems more relevant than ever given the actions over the past couple of weeks.
Yes. The process, folks, just like a president can be impeached, so can a mayor in Indiana. And this applies to any mayor of Indiana, not just necessarily Joe Hogsett. Joe Hogsett is just the point of our focus today. But a mayor can be impeached by the legislature for doing bad things. But it's unclear whether the council could impeach the mayor, but definitely a private citizen can actually go to court and get a mayor impeached.
Okay, so let's work through that, because that's probably the most logical way by which this would happen. So you're saying
if you are a citizen of Marion County, it's your understanding you could go to the local court system and file a lawsuit to put in front of a judge to try to determine if Joe Hogsett should be removed from public office.
Yes, whether it's the legislature can do it or a private citizen can go to court, file a lawsuit, and then the process would go.
What's the standard? What do I have to prove? I don't live in Marion County, but let's say you do. Let's say you wanted to do that. What would you have to prove in order to get Hogsett thrown out of office?
I would argue, the statute's pretty clear. It says right here, the requirements include, quote, neglecting to perform official duties pertaining to the office.
Okay, how far can I go back? Can I go back disappeared during riots where people died and everything got burned down? Is that, like, how, is there a statute of limitations on this? Can I put it all together in the aggregate? Like, what do I have to, how long do I have and how much stuff can I present?
Well, the statute of limitations part was unclear because it's never really been, to the best of my knowledge, no citizen, and I'm still doing the research on this, has ever brought a lawsuit to remove a mayor from office. It's always been there, but to the best of my knowledge, that has never happened before. Now, whether it goes back to 2020 and the riots or 2023 and the Thomas Cook situation, that remains to be seen. But a private citizen can go to court, file a lawsuit, and to have a Marion County judge remove the mayor from office.
Abdul is our guest. We're talking about Joe Hogsett. Okay, so he came out yesterday and said, I'm not quitting. I'm not resigning. I asked you this on State House Happenings because we've heard this before with Hogsett where, boy, he's really stepped in at this time. Oh, this is probably the end for him, and then absolutely nothing happens. It's amazing how much his path and Diego Morales' path sort of seem to like mirror each other. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being he's totally donezo, 1 being that'll be fine, no big deal at all, where would you put Hogsett's in trouble meter in terms of being able to hang on to being the mayor of the city of Indianapolis?
I would say a 5.5, 5.7.
Okay, so he's past the midway point, but he's not yet in it's all over position. Right. What would get him to it's all over position? Because how much more crap could this guy pull?
Well, I do know for the fact that the Democrat caucus is very frustrated with the mayor right now, even though publicly they'll say one thing. Privately, from my very reliable sources tell me, they are ticked off to no end that the mayor has put them and put the city in this position and put them in this position as well, because now they have to technically defend the mayor's bad behavior or at least not call him out on it as much as they would like to. And I would also argue, too, that at Monday night's council meeting, when Lauren Roberts was escorted out of the building, I say escorted in air quotes here, she was removed from the council meeting by sheriff's deputies. And if you watch that video clip that I posted on my social media pages, that 2 minutes.
You had the good video, by the way.
That was, good luck defending that. And I would not be surprised if a ton of counselors, Democratic counselors, start getting primary challenges, because 2027 is still a ways out, but I would not be. Stuff like this sticks in people's minds for a very, very, very long time.
What does Hogsett have on all these people? Does he have nudes of everyone? How does
money?
Is that it?
Money, because remember, back in 2023, Hogsett funded a lot of people's political campaigns, and money is the mother's milk or crack cocaine or fentanyl of politics these days.
And who are the people who keep giving Hogsett money? Because you look at this guy, he looked horrible yesterday. Those interviews he's giving, or an interview he gave, or the people who caught him out to lunch. And he looks like a totally beaten, disheveled individual. Who is he going to now? And they're like, well, yes, right away.
But he's still the mayor, and he still controls the purse strings.
And that's what it's all about.
At the end of the day, if you're a vendor and you do business with the city, you may hate the guy who holds the office, but you still got to dance with the person who brought you. Or if you got business with the city, or zoning issues, or anybody who does any sort of business with the city. But to a certain degree, it's kind of like for lack of a better term, it's like the Donald Trump situation. Donald Trump is still president of the United States, regardless of what you think about him. So you still got to do business and still got to get stuff done.
You have any idea what was going on in Vop Osley's head when he kicked Lauren Roberts out of that meeting? It was so bad on so many levels. He gets her name wrong. He calls her Lauren Boebert. He tries to say that what she's talking about is not essentially germane to the discussion at hand, which the thing they're about is she's a central witness to the thing they're talking about.
It was relevant because they were passing the fiscal ordinance to pay the law firm who did the investigation.
Of course. And then, like we talked about, and we talked about Merritt earlier, and Casey and I have talked about it multiple times, just let her go another 2 minutes. Like, who's going to object to that? And then she says her piece, and then you're done.
Had VOP let her speak, we're basically give her 5 minutes to make her statement. Granted, you only had 2 minutes to talk, but still, you're the council president, you can waive the rules. Let her make her statement. All this would have been avoided and gone. But because VOP was so, I would say, concerned about losing control of the whole meeting, guess what? He lost control of the whole meeting.
And part of the problem is the Democrats, and you're right, losing control of the meeting because he knew who was there and he knew the people that were behind her and he knew they were going to get loud. But part of the problem for the Democrats is they've saluted, for lack of a better term, this like disruptive behavior for years. They've encouraged these people when it's the other side, go do this. Look at what happened in the riots of 2020. Other than the people who killed Chris Beatty, how many people were held accountable for what they did in 2020? Almost nobody. They were celebrated. So you don't get to be like, oh, I'm so concerned about this now when it comes at you. If you've been saying for years, this is fine. Go ahead, do this.
And the other tidbit in the story from Monday night's meeting, which has not gotten as much attention as it probably should have, was City County Councilor Ron Gibson, who came out and said he supported the mayor. There's no there. Okay, that's fine. But as the Lauren Roberts is up there being escorted out, for him to say, because his microphone was on, you
what
dumbass,
an idiot,
to say that woman should be arrested. I was like, okay, you're basically said a victim of possible sexual assault who's speaking her mind in a public forum that she should be arrested. Good luck with that one.
I told Casey this the other day. I said, on a consistent basis, the amount of people who, when I was an elected person, would come to our meetings and the things that they would say and all the stuff, only one person ever got kicked out. And I was called basically every 4-letter word under the sun. And the only guy we ever kicked out was a guy who was screaming from the back of the meeting while other people were trying to speak at the lectern. And we warned him multiple times, like, you cannot scream while other people are talking. You've had your chance. If you do it again, you're getting thrown out. And he wanted to get thrown out. You cannot be throwing people out from the podium unless they're just causing a massive disturbance. They're a threat to somebody. It's their time to speak. I get that the time limits are there for a reason, so some guy can't read the Declaration of Independence, but she's a witness to the thing that you're paying. Give her 2 more minutes. Nobody would have cared.
And here's a little interesting tidbit, because like I said, if you stick around this town long enough, you see everything 2 or 3 different times. A few years ago, Ron Gibson had his own issues with law enforcement. Almost got arrested, and was complaining about the police and unnecessary force and blah, 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 blah. And then lo and behold, it happens here.
Find him over at indiepolitics.org. Abdul Shabazz, thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, as always, for listening. Without you, there is no us. Great job, Nathan. Great job, Casey. Stick around, Tony Katz. Coming up next, Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
With a B&W Premier Club membership, you'll stay ahead of breakdowns and costly repairs. Our members get routine maintenance, priority scheduling, and exclusive discounts, saving you money and keeping your family comfortable all season long. Visit bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108 for more information.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP $105,195. Nautilus MSRP $60,195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
For the first time